All right, thank you so much, appreciate that. Council, let's go ahead and get started. Let's go ahead and show it's at 6:34 start time. I do apologize for a little bit delay. We're trying to get things lined up with those that were gonna be joining us tonight. So let's go ahead and start off with roll call. So here you go, Paula.
District Court, Michael Gonzalez, Rodriguez.
Here.
I don't know why you're saying these sounds, sorry. District 5, Alderman Charles Pick.
Here.
District 1, 2, and 3, Alderman Joseph Moreno, Sanford says,
Okay, thank you. Please make a note of that. And before we actually get started, if everybody can please rise, we'll go ahead and do the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Okay, tonight, this is a notice of a workshop. The City Council of the City of Lidle, Texas will hold a workshop on May 15, 2023 at the Lidle City Hall located at 14916 Main Street at 6:30. The purpose of this workshop is to discuss the city's budget for fiscal year 2023 to 2024. All right, so we got a few things. If I remember, the big objective for us today is big picture and give the department heads an opportunity to pass on information to the council. We really appreciate our future leaders coming over and joining us. Thank you for being here because I know we're going to get busier as we get in the next few months, so kind of get an idea. We appreciate you guys being here. All right, turn it over to you, Lynette.
Yes,
All right.
so let's go ahead and start out with Santi since, and she just walked in. Let's give her time to settle in and start out with Santi. So he is gonna be in the pink folder.
All right.
You can open up the pink folder and then Santi can take it from here on the wish list.
Okay, so what we have in front of us is basically our current budget.
It's a current budget where we're currently at, and it goes all the way back to 2021, so we can have a variance report on it.
Okay.
And then we can kind of talk about what he wants to do for the future.
Roger that.
It has the current fiscal year to date at the very end to show what he's spent.
Awesome.
I'm gonna get you off. I got some bids for put ceiling fans and exhaust fan in the office area. And one in cabin and exhaust. Two.
If you have two extra ones, Santi.
Yes.
There we go. Thank you, sir.
Give them two on that. So this pretty much, I got two bids. The first one is like for the two ceiling fans in our office area, and then one new exhaust fan. But he's gonna need to put another breaker box for the ceiling fans and the exhaust fans to be able to do that, because there's no room on the breaker box outside, on the outside of the facility.
So this exhaust fan, is this like straight out of the building?
Yeah,
or-
we're gonna make it straight out, not make it circulate into the attic, is gonna go out of the building.
You'll push it out.
Mhm.
And it's in the admin area or in the cattery?
This one here gonna be, I think this one, Zamora put it in it's gonna be in the category.
Okay, actually, it says on the third one, it says remove and replace existing.
Yeah. So
That's
that'll
where
be,
it's at right now?
yeah,
Okay,
that'll be, and then the other bid is for windows in the office area, 3 windows, replacing them to where we can open them up, on a good day, a breezy day or something, to open the windows up and get some air in the facility. Saying that they're gonna need to be tempered glass, so they won't break, shatter real easy, in just big pieces. They're pretty high, compared to the third one, is from Tony Ramirez. He's putting 3 ceiling fans in the office area and 1 in the laundry room. And same thing with the electrical box, you need to go up there, cut holes and make braces for them. And the total cost that he's providing is about 4,000, but that's on the prices that he had given. Not sure the prices have gone up on the material and everything like that.
When did he actually give you this?
This one, I believe it was last year.
Oh, so this is from last year.
Yeah, it wasn't just recent, it was one that had kept.
So the things we'll have to check, council, is to make sure that the work's being performed by actual licensed, electricians, stuff like, I don't know, it doesn't necessarily say that in this.
Yeah.
I'm assuming they would bring in a third party to do that. But if not, that would probably raise these costs as
Yeah,
well.
probably.
Okay.
And the last one is, like, trying to do, we call it, a spay neuter day for this, like, for Lido, everyone in the 7802 area zip code. And those are pretty much, I got this from, Betty Kroger, from Lido Animal Allies. And that's what kind of what the cost is for big dogs. Like, it has it broken down on the side and how much it would be and everything.
The total cost of that for a year, for the city's contribution would be roughly 34,680.
Is that- Yeah, so not thinking of doing this every month, maybe like every other month or whatever, or something like that.
So then it's
Yeah.
2890 a month, and then however many months.
Yeah, we
Council.
count it, you know,
One, okay, that's,
Yeah.
that's what I'm
yeah, she had come by to talk to me, not every month, but.
Oh, yeah, it's on the very bottom.
I think.
It's every other month.
So why is that a cost to the city?
I think they're asking, if I remember correctly from previous times, is just asking for the city to provide that service, or offset the
And we
the
could,
service.
we couldn't do this for everyone in the 78052 zip code. It'd have to be stipulated, if it's city money, you have to reside inside the city, not just receive a utility. You gotta live within our incorporated city limits for us to spend taxpayer money on it.
I didn't realize that the city paid for spade and neuter. I thought it was a service that the pet owner would pay.
So that's what I think they're trying to do in talking with Betty, and they're trying to figure out how do we control the overpopulation. Some people just cannot afford themselves to cover the entire cost. So they're looking at a joint venture to maybe do a cost share with the owners who want to spay or neuter their pet but couldn't afford a total cost, maybe split the cost or something with them.
Right now, Sante, is it like 45 for small dog?
I think the base price for a dog is 75, and then the cat
Okay,
is like $30.
okay. So right now, I think right now the nonprofit is actually helping out with that, the Animal Allies. I think the request is whether or not the city can help out, but specifically targeting inside the city limits.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we're gonna
Yeah.
spend taxpayer dollars on it, I think it'd have to be a program for only residents of the city limits. I don't know how we could use it for somebody who lives in the county or in ETJ.
Oh, we just looked at a map, Michael and I, and 78052 is double the city size.
Yep.
What about doing it quarterly? Why do we have to do it every month?
No, yeah, we can do quarter, not every month, just and help out the citizens here that can't really, 'cause they go on their own to a vet, it's gonna be like, depending on how big the weight the dog is, sometimes $400. Just trying to help give back to help us.
So you're talking about all of this money or partial, like we would substitute some funds? Are we looking to cover 100%?
I don't think we,
No, I think if they're saying money collected from the owners, I think they're gonna be collecting money from the owners, they just wanna get them a lower overall cost. So, if we're looking at, let's see, 34, 16. So 17, So if you did every other month, that would be around 17,340, something like that.
Roughly, yeah.
And if you did it by quarter, so that would be about 8,670. That would be per quarter. So
So currently, when we get strays or captured dogs or cats, we provide this service, right?
Yeah, when they pay, when they pay the adoption fee, yes.
Oh, it's only on adoption. So when they're captured, the services are provided yet.
No.
And then those that are euthanized, they obviously they don't get the service.
No.
Okay.
Going back to these, building improvements, what's the need for the new windows?
Just to kind of open up the windows to help the breeze come in, because it's kind of stuffy in there. We don't have ceiling fans inside the office here, just the regular AC. Just get air circulated in there.
Those fans, none of them are going to the office area?
Yeah, the main office area when you walk in, yes.
So can we live with one to the other?
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I'm looking at, wants versus needs sort of deal. I think you'd rather probably see a pay increase than new windows, right?
True. Yeah. I'd rather have the ceiling fans and the windows, depending on what the cost.
and I think if we go by per quarter, you're looking around going back to the fee, maybe around 10. That's what you're thinking, something like that.
Yeah. And then we'll get with I didn't print out the.
That'd be good, just to kind of get it,
Yeah.
get an idea, but at least, or if we did with the, every 2 months, it'd be 17,
Okay.
something like that.
That would be a cost savings. Yeah, with that cost saving, I mean, you would have to go with the temporary windows. Doesn't make sense just to go with the standard window.
Yeah.
If you're gonna go through that expensive replacement. Is that any kind of theft deterrent as well? Is it harder to break into?
Yeah, we really don't have it. That would be a burglary issue out there, probably wouldn't be.
We don't store, any kind of medications up there?
Last one here in the temper, the one that got shot at.
I didn't
wait.
Yeah, I did not correctly. No, doubt.
Any other questions on the request from Animal Care and Control?
So one other question on the ceiling fans and exhaust, these are all replacement, new replacement.
Just one of them would be replacement. One exhaust fan would be replacing the battery.
Right, and is there a completely new install on
This,
this list of the two and one?
the other one,
You don't have ceiling fans in there.
I don't
right now.
have ceiling fans at all.
Okay, so they're new installed.
So-
Yeah, ceiling fans would be
The
new.
ceiling fans would be new, the exhaust fan, you're fixing what is already in there.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm.
Is that
Because
right?
in the office area, you're not storing animals in there.
Yeah, or now moving them out. So
You will be moving.
yeah, it's pretty much cleared right now in the office area.
But the cattery, you need that one to be able to
Yes.
take the air,
Take the air out.
smell
So,
out, right?
yeah,
The air.
because that area is so tight, so small.
Okay.
Okay, that makes sense.
The ceiling fan, the exhaust fan that's in there is not really, it's on, but it's not really doing much.
So if you had to prioritize between the two, Santi, the first one, the ceiling fan and the exhaust fan is your number one choice compared to the windows?
Yes, definitely.
If you had to prioritize. there any way you can get sponsored for that?
If anybody wanted to donate, they'd be more than happy, we'd take their money.
Like it's the dog place, right?
Yep.
I mean, what do y'all feed them? Purina?
Just where we get donated, that kind of, it's, what we get donated from community side is all good name brand dog with no dye in it, so it doesn't.
I'm just saying, like, maybe try Purina, maybe they'll send a check for $5,000 for the whole facility. I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Right?
Reach out, try to find out.
Just grab some money where, you know, those big companies are willing to put money in places. Right off.
I'll
Just a thought.
Yeah,
Maybe look into that.
I'll look into that.
You just have to name it the Purina Catteria.
Everything for sale.
Right, so we gotta put the name on there.
Put a big sign out there, Purina. We're backed up by Purina.
Kibbles and bits,
Yeah.
right?
We can do some research, I'll help Santi on researching the, different companies out there that wanna help sponsor things, cause every company coming into the year, they gotta offload some money for tax write-offs and see if their overall goal matches our overall goals, and just write them a letter, all they can say is no.
I didn't
Currently,
even,
there's no signage out there, right?
No signage?
Other than
There's a
the,
sign out there.
Yeah, there's,
Just on the other sign.
Have a monument.
but no, but it just says the animal control.
Mm.
But there's no, what I'm saying is that they sponsor it. They've been
Oh.
sponsored advertisement
oh, I don't know.
on signage, that's what I'm thinking.
and I didn't mean to step on anybody.
No, hey, that's what it's all about, you gotta think outside the box, if there's anything that might be available, we'll try to do that. But Santi, if you had to prioritize between the two, it's still the fans and the exhaust fan, right?
Yeah. Definitely.
Council, anything?
Any need for new personnel, additional personnel? Are you good with what you got?
Good with the guy, we're still trying to hire, we saw the position open for the animal control officer right now. We're good at where we're at right now.
So Santi, you're good with 3 full-time and 1 part-time?
Yeah, still good with that, I don't think we need anybody else. Police.
Rich's inside voice coming out.
Yep.
Yeah, sorry.
Struggle.
Alright.
Anything else, Santi?
No, but, like I said, it says 1 exhaust fan. I might talk to each one of them again, because I really want one in the main walk-in area, 2 in the exhaust fan or something, where everybody kind of hangs out. Because it only has one, you only put one, replacing the one in the category, the existing one.
Where would you want the second one?
Like either in the, where everybody's at, or in the laundry room
Office.
area. Well,
So
like
my only
laundry
concern, and me thinking, if we exhaust that air out, that's the cold air from the air conditioning
Oh.
system, and that air conditioner now gonna run 3 times as much trying to cool it back off. So we need to pay attention, I mean, we just raise our electrical costs and never really gain much.
Mhm. Okay. I didn't know if we needed one in there, in the, where you kind of walk in, or the laundry room area or something.
I think we probably need to have an HVAC guy look at that and tell us, you know, I'm just thinking, you know, if you're trying to cool a place off, and yet you're sending that air out of the building, you're just,
What would be the purpose of having that exhaust fan?
Kind of help with the smell, because of the laundry area, because of the laundry that we kind of gets piled up.
Well, because they're soil.
Yeah.
But there's no actual animals in that area.
Right now there is, but
There
it's
should,
it's
there
not,
won't be in the future.
yeah, they're not.
So you're talking
Because where the intake for the AC is in the laundry room on the ground. So,
So this would be an exhaust fan that would be periodically used,
yeah,
or would it be full-time?
I would say periodically, not have it on all the time, just to kind of help. But, yeah,
Well, if you're losing windows, you might want to look at seeing how you can fix that with your budget. Because, I mean, that's what it all boils down to. cost. And then going with the mayor's suggestion to do it quarterly. Because they would might work.
This gives us a good idea, Santi, we appreciate it. But if you're thinking about getting Tony Ramirez involved, you probably need to go ahead and get him involved.
Yeah.
Okay, and get the figures, so we can make sure that the council is looking at the most updated figures.
Yes, definitely.
To be able to make a decision on that as we move forward and we start looking at it, okay?
So council, I do want to point out that on this year's budget, we did budget 5,000 for capital improvements for the animal control facility that have not been expensed. We are still holding 5,000 in this current year. And then in repairs and maintenance, we budgeted 8,000 and Santi's only expensed 2,200 out. So I've got a total of right about 7,000 out there to use for this year.
Now you know what I was prioritizing, what
But we could push some of this next year.
Good
And you
opportunity.
have looked at repairing the windows.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
And just to get them like, cause I have them kind of tinted, I use the automotive tint to kind of keep it, yeah. Cause in my little office area where it's at, on one side, it'll get pretty hot in there. Cause with the AC, the circulation, the AC unit, it's not really throwing air into my office area. It's pretty much everywhere else, it's hot in that.
And you need to get the HVAC guy in there.
We need to just balance it out, honestly. We need to balance the whole thing. Have a little bit of room on the cattery so you have a little bit of circulation pushing the stuff out and then the exhaust. And you'll get the circulation if you get the right exhaust fan in there. The cattery will be able to help your admin area. You just gotta balance it out. It'll be okay. Balance it. All right, anything else, council? No? All right. Santi, thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it, and we'll definitely get us that last one.
Yeah,
Okay,
definitely.
get it to Lynette, talk to the last person about the numbers, and then see if maybe there's a possibility, maybe from assistance with any of the other stuff. I know, council, just so you know, with the spade and neuter, I know that we've gone out, and Santi, you can vouch for me on this, we've gone out to different agencies to try to get money.
Mhm.
We actually have gotten assistance from a particular couple that helps us out,
Oh, yes.
offset some of the costs. So I can tell you that we've been doing a lot of work in trying to do that for that purpose. But for the facilities and stuff, we haven't, not that I know of, right? So that's a good suggestion, be able to take a
We
look.
did budget out 12,000 for that, so maybe like, I can't remember who said it, but quarterly or even bi-yearly?
Yeah, that one definitely look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, I'm with you, Lynette. Yeah. I know we've exhausted, we've tried really hard to try to find other sources for spade and neuter so we could go ahead and take care of those folks. Just like Matt said, we do need to concentrate on those that are within the city limits. So that will also help out with that. All right, council, let's go ahead and move on to the next on the net.
Let's go with the library, are you ready?
Okay. So I didn't really bring anything out because what we really need is, well, I had already talked to Matt about the copy machine. I'm still trying to get that guy to send me stuff, but I'll have to send you what he sent me. Because we had asked for the copy machine like maybe a year and a half ago, and the guy still kind of like, he would come back and forth and he would tell me, oh, it's gonna be like $5,000, and I'm like, copy machine, that, we don't need that large of a copy machine. But we do require, the state does require us to have a copy machine for the public, so we need to be able to do it front and back and legal size, and then we do make copies a lot all day long. So that's one of the main things we do, because that one it's like Kyocera Copy Star, and it's like from the late 90s, early 2000s. It was a refurbished machine that they.
The one that you currently have.
And they already took the last part that they have on it. There's no other part that they can replace. That's it. After that, it's gone. So I usually use the fax machine when I have to make a copy of something, and luckily that has a, you know.
We might have another one at the auction. No, I'm just joking.
I don't think anybody would want it.
If we're looking for parts, we gotta have it.
So, you mean something like I have here, that we use the big one, or can you use
Something slightly smaller than that, like larger than what she has, so.
I don't know what she has. How much are we looking at, Matt?
Yours was 25-ish hundred, right?
I think it's actually a little less last time.
Yeah,
So I
we're
talked
probably
to
in the
them.
$3,000 range.
Yeah, I was gonna
on that.
say, right now, if you're looking at about that same speed and the capability, being able to scan also and send, looking around 32,
Okay.
35.
Well, cause he kept like going up with the price and I'm like.
Is that about right, man?
I would,
Yeah, the problem with those salesmen though, is they're salesmen.
I know, and he
And,
kept wanting
you
to know
know,
the price, and I said, no, I can't give you, just.
I
tell
just
me what
tell
you
them,
got,
I
you know?
just tell them, either give me a price or I'm going somewhere else.
Yeah, he wouldn't give me a price, so it's a problem. He would give me a
let's see what we
price.
can, let me get, see what we can get working on it.
We've dealt with them a lot. Matt has too. I mean, they should be able to give you a quote right away.
You deal with Desmond? See, I don't know, if
I'll-
somebody
I'll
will call me a different name, so.
Well, we'll
that's
get
why I was
we'll get an actual firm number for working
Yeah.
on.
That's one of the biggest things, with me, because there's days it's like, you know, turn it back on and see what it'll do, you know,
And does the public pay for their copies?
10 cents a page.
And have you looked at leasing options? I know you're
I
talking
know
about a
that's-
smaller printer,
Right,
but,
right. I had heard from other company, other libraries that we have a leasing program.
right, and does the library itself pay copies?
We make copies like for story times and a reading program, when we have to make copies for.
So it wouldn't be 100% fundable through
Yeah.
copies made for
Right,
the citizens.
Exactly.
Yeah, if you could look at a leasing option, but I don't know, depending on what
Right.
some minimum size,
Exactly.
copy rate would be, because they can get pretty expensive.
We looked at leasing and I think it was based on a certain minimum number. And I'm not sure that we were gonna meet that minimum or something, so it's, I don't really know how that works.
So Cassandra, when somebody comes over and uses a public CPUs, do they have a copier or a printer there?
We have a printer also, we have a printer and a copier. The printer is behind the desk and so it's a copy machine. So whenever they need to print something out,
It comes out on the.
it comes out on the main printer at the desk.
Okay,
And then we charge 15 cents for those, and then it's 10 cents a piece for the copy machine.
Could we turn the copy machine and make it your all-in-one versus having 5 or 6 devices spread out? It's just one big machine that does it all through fax, copy, or
Right on network.
kind of like what we've got here.
That guy tried to do that at one time or another, that, I don't know if you remember him, John Rates, Mr. Rates.
Oh, yeah.
He tried to do that, but the way that machine he had, it wouldn't be able to hook in. It was an older machine, that's the reason.
So the one that the PD bought, it's all in one. Everything prints to that machine. We scan from it. I mean, everything's off that machine.
Now, I will still tell you, we still have we still have 2 smaller ones.
Yeah.
Because when that one goes down or when you run out of ink unexpectedly, it's awful nice to have, we have to have a backup,
Well, you got to print sensitive data that you can't just send
you know.
to a general area.
But yeah, I mean, it's,
yeah, you can still,
we
You
can
still
do
have
it
the
fast.
backup.
though.
But it happens.
I know that, I think the Pleasanton Library does that, they do have it behind the counter and everything goes to their main printer.
So with that said, you still are sitting with $4,000 worth of miscellaneous expense that we could use this year.
Okay. I was looking at getting new computers and monitors, I've been losing them left and right, but I'm gonna look at a grant for that. There's 2 grants that will pay for that kind of stuff, because I've gone to, the Castroville Library, not anybody else has been to the Castroville Library, but they have them all in one section, kind of what we do, but everything is the same style computer, so that you're not, like, because we have like, this computer has this, and this computer has that, and if you have to sit the paper in here, oh wait, it doesn't have that, let me put you on this other, so it's really, an inconvenience sometimes. So I'd rather get them all the same, but I'm gonna get a grant for that. So that
so
I
you're
can-
gonna get that from a different.
Yes,
So
I'm,
how many are you talking about?
Like 8, yeah,
8?
like 8, yeah.
And what are those going to be used for? For general public or office?
General public.
So council, what about this?
Because we're gonna need them.
Can we buy new PCs, thinking, right, we buy new PCs for office here, updated, everyday use, faster. We take our old ones that we have, they're still good, get them refurbished through Fonterra, have them reset everything back to factory, send those over there. Nothing personal, I don't think somebody just coming in to surf the web probably needs a brand new state-of-the-art computer whenever we're working off of 4 or 5-year-old computers here. We need to keep the most updated in staff, refurbish those and send them back down to the general public to use, if that would work.
Right, 'cause right now, they need Microsoft Word sometimes, we don't have Microsoft Word on it, so, or, one we did have, it finally died, so it's like, oh, gosh, what do I do now? You know, so I have to use.
We can work on that. I think that's,
And then,
if we can get grants, great, but if that's not an option, I think we look at the second phase of maybe updating what office areas have, refurbing those and sending them to the library for public use.
I'd like also for Terry to come in and fix the, spaghetti bowl that's there, because like the wires are all over the place, and I try to put everything like, you know, with ties and stuff, but it's just too much, like, I wanted to go under the desk rather than on top of the desk. You understand?
Just the cable routing,
Okay, exactly, that's a concern
we
that I have
can work on that.
with
I
that.
think that's some, probably stuff we can maybe
Probably
clean up
be at the
in-house.
same time that we replace
Yeah,
it
for
for
replacement.
CPUs, just go ahead and do both at the same time. Cause
The
then,
office- the office PCs, they're the same brand or similar brands? Are they?
Here in our office,
Yes.
they can be a little different here and there, but for the most part, most are the same.
Like, they're so old, I still have a CD one.
That, which is good, because some patrons need the CD when they come in, and they have to put that in there, so.
But I'm almost maxed out.
And then too, with the new software the office is gonna be getting or looking into, you're gonna have to have at least minimum.
I don't
We
know
need
how old
better
those are. I really don't.
Yeah, we're gonna need, in the office, if we decide and we're able to buy new software, we're gonna have to have more robust computers here, not a typical off-the-shelf.
And then, other thing would be to update some of the lights. I know, because some of them need to be fixed. I don't know which regards of the guys are still trying to get some lighting or something.
Are we talking about lights like these here? Or what kind of lighting?
Yes, that kind of light. We have, basically shop lighting that's exposed throughout the whole library. It doesn't have cover over it. It's just, the bulbs are exposed.
So
Some of
you just
them,
don't have the covers.
no covers on the lights.
Are you talking about replacing the ballast and everything?
Well, some of them need the ballast replaced, and some of them need, just a new light, but they've been trying to get to those with some of them.
So we're transitioning everything over to LED. If you've been up, well, the community center was just done. If you walk into the community center, we're able to take these same fixtures, take the ballast out of it, take the old fluorescents out, and replace them with just 2 LED bulbs
Yeah.
and get just as much lighting. Should reduce our power cost and consumption. We're doing those to a local electrician at $69 a fixture. That's labor,
No,
like-
He did more than that when he replaced the whole ballast there in the office.
They cut the ballast out, hardwire it.
Yeah, they,
But I thought it was like 300.
It was $69 a fixture, the price he gave me. And then we're working with CPS. We can work through CPS Energy. They have a program, but in order to work through them, there's a bunch of red tape and all this, and for hopes that we could maybe get a rebate. I think if we need to upgrade lighting fixtures, that's just general maintenance. Just get it done. You may not get all of them, but we just start to tackle them as we can.
that's fine. Those are the ones that need their ballast right now, is what I'm concerned with, because there's part, like in the kids area, there's one section where there's, the lighting is not working at all. It needs new ballast.
So how many lights will be coming at a price?
Probably a dozen, I would say. And then the only other thing we really need is a part-time employee, because right now, April's out for 6 weeks, on sick leave. So it's just Joe and myself, so if one of us gets sick, we would have to close the library down.
What about hiring, with school going out, maybe a high schooler?
Well, we had tried to, do that program, but the lady never contacted.
She never saw it either.
Are we required to have 2 people at the library at all times?
For safety, I would, especially with everything. We've had some strange, people coming in now.
So the biggest key we're gonna get, council, I think everybody up here will tell you we need more employees. But, it's not just that upfront employee cost, it's all the benefits and everything else we have to add. It's,
if they,
there's a lot of moving parts in the budget, and when we add an employee, that's a big ticket item. Unless we can keep them part-time,
That's
less
what I-
than 20 hours a week. Then are we taking 2 part-timers to get 1 full-time position to not have to pay the extra stuff? And instead of saying, let's just hire a full-time person, give them, I don't know, something we need to look at. Do we need the person permanently, or just need them part-time until your full-time employee gets back?
We would need them permanently. Right now, I have a volunteer who comes in once a week, but she's only there for 2 hours.
A permanent part-time employee?
Yes.
That would be.
Yes.
So that would give us 2 permanent part-time employees out there. Then are we
Somebody you can.
Are we
rely on.
circumventing
Right.
not having to pay benefits. If that's the case, we get tired of it, but part-time, you know?
I mean, maybe doing it just because of flexibility, you can have more flexibility for the employee themselves part-time. Some people don't need any insurance and benefits.
We need to look at what's best for everybody involved.
Yeah, we probably need to figure out the amount.
What is the technology expense? I see it's at 10,000,
That usually covers,
but then I see last year it was 1,600. 22 total activity. Is that for Wi-Fi setup service?
that's usually
For
covers,
Frontier?
yeah, like that kind of service, and then any of the, like, what we pay for our technology expense, like,
Well, is there a reason
There's
why it
certain
was
fees.
9,000 2 years ago and then last
I think we
budget?
got computers that one year, I
Okay,
think that's what it was.
so you couldn't use that money? Well, I don't,
Yeah,
I guess, could you use that money for the printer?
Yeah, I would, yes, I think we had budgeted for the printer, and we just never, we never got it because of trying to find it.
Yeah, I would, going back to the printer, I would recommend that you make sure that it's able to do that work.
Yes, because that would be better.
So where do we fit in the lighting? If, I mean, Mr. Deere, we did that with the expense of reading center. We had that budgeted already, right?
Repairs and maintenance for a building.
Whereas at the library,
It falls under their repairs and maintenance as well.
and could it fit in with the current budget estimate?
So $14,000 in repairs and maintenance for the library. For repairs and maintenance for the library, we're only at 4,800 for the year. We budgeted
Okay.
18,500.
Did we already account, did you have anything done on the roof?
Yeah, we
Oh,
just
yeah.
replaced the roof for like 35,000, wasn't it? Something like that?
Was it
Yeah.
last year? It was last year's.
It was last year's that we used?
No.
What is the 19,600 for capital improvements to the library?
That's probably where it went.
'Cause we didn't budget anything
Yeah.
for that, they were at 20,000.
Oh, sorry, that was for the roof.
Oh, okay.
So I did want to take that there so I could cap it at the end of the year.
But it was 35 total.
Roof was,
Because that
yeah.
was figured into this
That was more than
or this
19.
current budget.
I think you said it was under 20. Yeah, I remember that.
Okay.
Yeah, it was under 20.
Okay.
Didn't seem like
Yeah,
that.
I'm sorry, Michael.
The roof was budgeted in this current,
Yes,
yeah, so.
Maybe I'm thinking this.
but it was in like, it was in like an odd jail account, and I wanted to put it where it needed to be, so that was gonna be part of the adjustments, but I wanted it to fall under 120 and not just some miscellaneous account that was out there for cap. Because the original was like under 111, and it didn't make sense.
So not that you don't need more money, I think if you just refigure your budget and see where this money can come from for the lights and the printer, should be covered.
How's the septic doing? Any repairs on the septic?
They pumped it right in October, right after they put the roof on. But we haven't had,
How many times have we pumped it in the last year?
probably twice. Didn't need to pump it, I think it's more like, need to fix the lines.
Yeah.
Just
You
some
pump,
trees.
you pump the septic tank to get the solids out of it. You don't pump the septic tank to remove the water.
Right.
You use the lateral lines to remove the water. It needs to be, probably ought to go in with the same system they got at the library, at the animal shelter, going with an aerobic system. Just leave the tank they got in there, that'll catch all the solids, and then put an aerobic system behind it, put 2 sets of spray heads, one going one direction, one the other, alternate every couple of weeks, so it doesn't been waterlogged like the animal shelter does. That they should have put another one in there. Should have put in a sprinkler system. They should have put them up high. They should have put them with the tank, one on each side of the tank, not down there where the water stands.
But my understanding is that the 2 pumps this year were done for construction or repairs. It wasn't because of
No.
solid waste.
No, it was because of the water, it was just a lot of water. we had.
So
So we need to look at lateral.
Because the lateral lines I think are, because there's 2 oak trees in the back.
They're shaded,
Uh-huh.
lateral lines are shaded and they got roots, so
Yeah.
that's probably the main cause of the,
What's the cost to convert to in a little bit?
I don't know, I think we did,
I can't remember.
we did that, what, between 5,000 and 6,000?
Could have been.
That's,
But that's been a couple of years ago, it's probably
pre-COVID, that was,
seven to 8 now.
I mean, what does it cost to go out there and pump it?
Like 500.
Yeah, 300 or 400, yeah.
Just depends on.
You're not gonna pump it anymore though.
No, that's right. You know, when that front tank fills up, that's the only one you'd have to pump. You know,
Yeah, how often is that gonna fill up? You don't have someone living there.
it,
3 or
river
4
house
years,
should
I
last
think.
6 to 8 years, you know, with a
Yeah.
3-bedroom house, 6 to 8 years.
Mine's about every, with so many at home, you know, mine's probably about every 3 years you gotta pump it. But still, it's not.
Just gotta eat those.
Go to the library.
Yeah.
Good point.
So prior to them pumping this, like in 2016, I think was this started pumping it? I don't remember. We hadn't pumped it ever, but in the whole time that I've been there, we had never pumped it. And then all of a sudden, I think it was 2016 when we had to start pumping it. And that's when we had pumped
So you're averaging 2,
to a year.
so if we just say a roundabout number, and I know it can be $300 to $500 to pump, but just say 500 on the top end, so $1,000 we spend a year. And we're looking at how much to fix the lateral lines,
I
think it's over about 8.
about 8.
The thing about pumping, and all you're doing is pumping water. You're pumping,
I know, but if the laterals are not doing what they're supposed to be doing,
the lateral should be taking in a couple of 100 gallons a day, if they're working right, you know.
They're all shaded too, so it's not burning off like it should be.
Yeah, it's shaded.
It never will unless you relocate the laterals, and how much does that cost?
With all those trees,
And they just keep.
right into your backyard.
And
No, I mean,
so we really need to study that one a little bit more, but Lynette, do we have the money in there to be able to give her the 2 pumps? Worst case scenario, if we need to pump it?
So far, I mean, as of right now, she does.
She does?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we
As long
set
as
up-
she has the money, so we can kind of at least take care of that.
Yeah.
But I think we're gonna need to study that a little bit more. Maybe come up with a game plan, not for this year, but probably for next year. So track it real closely.
Yeah, we tried to.
Say
So
that.
for some reason, I put 18.5 in repairs and maintenance, and I cannot remember why. but I-
We were looking at the roof,
Yeah.
and the roof came in a lot more than we anticipated.
So, 'cause I think just like Michael was mentioning, we probably have, the 3,500, if we have that in place, it would take care of the copier. You said $70 per light, about 60.
Yeah, I think it was like $69 a light for this.
So if it's like 70, that's, you said 12,
About 12.
so that's $840 right there, $1,000 just to get your lights taken care of. You can go ahead and replace them with LEDs.
Yes, that would be better.
It's more efficient, less electricity, and it's brighter also in there, but they do need to do some work. We just need to find out, we probably need to get Mr. Brown up there to find out whether or not that fixture can actually be converted. It should, but,
I think he did them before and he converted some of them to forever.
so we still have some more to do
There's
there.
more. Mhm.
Okay. So you're looking at about $1,000. So if we have that money, we'll be able to take care of it. The only thing left is just gonna be the CPUs, you said we'll find
Yeah,
out, we'll study that. And then the part-time employee, try to figure that cost of how much that's gonna be. Just to try to figure
It's
whether or not
$68 a fixture.
$68, yeah,
Let's look at the bill.
so let's say 1,000, but. We probably need to look at the biggest one is just gonna be the part-time employee. I think we need to study that one really close too. Okay? Try to figure out based on the costs, see whether or not we can afford something like that we have. So, council?
I mean, if we need to start adding people, we need to take a good hard look at that, Mayor, because we're gonna need, every department's gonna need people. And we either transition into that, starting part-time and then work full-time next year or the year after, Otherwise, we're just gonna get caught, getting across all, work centers, double the staff.
So just to give you an idea of where we're at, like, if a part-time employee was making, at 15 an hour, is gonna cost us right about 17,000. Once I match FICA and do everything, if we give them a part-time, like Matt
Yeah,
said,
that's what we would.
18 hours a week,
yeah,
keep them
so,
below the 20 threshold.
right, so that's gonna cost them out there, that would be part of your budget, just to keep that in mind.
So about 18.
Yes, sir.
I don't know nothing this
You
one.
need the help, right?
Yes, yes. Because right now, when we were paying a part-time employee before, they were starting out at what we had, I think we recommended before, like 10.25 or something like that.
People can't live off 10.25.
You'll see, and I'll jump in real quick. You're gonna see when we start talking about salaries, we're gonna try to make our new minimum wage 15 an hour. That's the, I mean, when you do the research, that's not even naturally a living wage, but that's as close as you can kind of find for Texas, but yeah, we need to give people to a minimum of 15 an hour, if we're even gonna be competitive in bringing employees on in this city.
Especially with I mean, we all have hard jobs, okay, but public works, definitely in the trenches and everything else. Those are the toughest ones that are hard to fill, so we definitely need to put a little bit extra on that one. So 18,000,
Hang on,
Lynette?
just give me-
Okay.
We're gonna do 15 and 18 hours a week, right?
Yep.
Still gonna come out to about 15,370.
Yeah.
And that's what matching FICA, no health insurance, or yearly bonus.
I'm just gonna put it as a 16. I'll just put it just as a way. So,
And no overtime, or no extra time.
No extra.
Yeah, no, we were just,
But it has to be the 18 a week, you can't average that over 2 weeks.
Right.
That's the only thing.
so we'll make annotations on that. Anything else, council, for the library?
you did mention, Matt and I talked about this morning about the timesheets. You know, I think the reason why we're having such issues is because the library's only open 8 hours a week, or 8 hours a day, and so for us, we have to come in early or stay late to make up the time for the lunch. So I think what we're gonna have to do is change the library's hours in order for us to not have to, you know, like maybe do 9 hours a day. But we'll still put in our time, you know what I mean?
However we wanna do it.
But we'll wait till like the fall to see, like in October to see.
I think let's take a realistic approach to our library and see, does it need to be open? Do we have people in the evenings that wanna visit the library after hours, after 5? I don't know.
Used to be open on Saturday.
Yeah, but we just did not have the people, I mean, it was the same people that came during the week that would come in at 12:30, we opened at 10, and they would come in at 12:30 or 1 o'clock, and we closed at 2. So it was like, okay, you know.
The only complaints I got back then was they needed access to the Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Remember when we used to turn it off and
Yes,
turn it off?
turn off, turn
Yeah,
on.
so as long as we keep the Wi-Fi, people can park outside or sit on
Oh,
your
yeah.
bench, I think folks are happy.
That's
After
what other
hours.
libraries around us do in their hours, and
Most of the libraries are closed. The only one I know that is open on Saturday is Castroville, Hondo, and I think Jordanton went to opening on Saturdays, but I don't know if they're still coming. Maybe on that. Everybody else is closed on Saturday.
And your Wi-Fi login requires an account.
It's open to,
It should require an account, a library card number or library. That's what they do in San Antonio.
yeah, I think if you're gonna access our Wi-Fi, you should have a
After
library
hours, you
card.
definitely should.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna pay something to have access to the amenities we offer.
I go to the casino, I have to log in.
I never been to one of them.
He said, no, he's got gold status. He has unlimited data.
Yeah, I didn't realize you could access it without having.
yeah, well, that brings me to another thing that if we, right now, you know, we get patrons from everywhere, we have them from all over the different cities. So they don't pay to get a library card. So would we need to change that and make anyone?
Who's eligible for a library card?
Right now, we have everybody, it's open to everybody.
So then just leave it that way.
Right now?
But if we're gonna allow Wi-Fi after hours,
I think our Wi-Fi should have some sort of password on it, and you get that password if you have a library card.
yes.
And we can talk to Frontier and, I don't know, maybe it changes every 30 days and you only get the new one if you have an active library. I don't know, you know?
What about
Well,
the
you could
people-
log in through your active library card.
How much does it cost for the library?
Right now, there's no fee for library card.
So the main thing is we need to make it accessible one way or another. I can tell you, a lot of the folks, the people I would see, and I haven't done lately, but in the past, when I would go and I see people at 2:00 in the morning, is people that would be out there either doing schoolwork, they're logged in, somebody filling out an application for Texas Workforce Commission, because they can't afford to have Wi-Fi, and they're trying to take that next step. So we need to make sure that we actually make it accessible to be able to do that. Whatever it is that we come up with, but we gotta think of those folks that honestly don't have internet at home, and they're looking for a place to connect.
Now, there's other libraries like Durhamton, Pleasanton, and Louisville, they do offer hotspots where they're in some kind of agreement with the company, and they can offer a hotspot and check it out like a book to the patron for like 2 weeks, and they can take it home, to, wherever they live. And if they don't return it within that 2-week period, then it turns off, and then we can, issue a bench warrant or whatever for them for not returning it.
Well, if we're gonna do that, then there's gotta be a fee associated. I mean,
Yeah, there's a lot more with
There's-
that on that.
I don't think we wanna cross that bridge.
I know, I'm kind of like iffy on that as well, so I'm just kind of like.
Let's just look at all the opportunities, in the future, and whatever is reasonable, to be able to take care of our resources, but at the same time, still be accessible for folks to be able to use.
Yeah, that's something. What about people just passing through that are like from out of town? How would you make them get a library card?
They go to San Antonio to Starbucks.
I would think, I'd
Where you
prefer
go?
to go to the library to do that. I'd go to
Whataburger,
Whataburger
Yeah,
or
H-E-B.
McDonald's.
Yeah, exactly.
No, like the Castroville, you get a temporary day. So you go in there and pay $5 if you're an out of towner, you get a temporary. And you can use it for as long as you, well, no, you don't. You use it for a certain.
So there's a
like,
lot of
amount.
possibilities.
Yeah.
Right, so we can
If you could look into it.
Oh,
But that could be included in your monthly report. We had 100 visitors using
yeah,
Wi-Fi.
it's hard to track that because we,
35. Well, it would be based on the login. So if you have a library
You have
card and
logins.
you have an email address,
we do have logins if they use our computers, but we don't have a login.
no, but you could do that for the Wi-Fi access. It's very
If
simple.
it's software, yeah, we can work with Frontier.
We need to.
That's how we turn theirs on and off, where they got the card.
And you could make it as simple as just putting their address and their library card number. Could be their password. Something very simple. Thank you.
That's good. Anything else? Charles, anything else for the library?
No, sir.
All right, let's go ahead and move on. Lynette, thank you. Cassandra, appreciate that.
Let's go ahead and do the purple, with Matt and I, because James is gonna take the longest.
Purple City Hall Parks. Which one is it, Richie's?
Richie's in there too. Let's go ahead and let Richie go.
Okay.
Which one is Richie's?
Richie's in
He's
the
in the
purple.
I'm in the purple, I didn't get my own
I-
dang
Oh, you're in
folder.
the purple.
I didn't get my own folder. I don't know what animal control library did.
Richie, I'm sorry.
Finally, Rick.
Okay.
So, well, let me see what they actually sent out here.
Let me look at general fund. Pink is police.
Yeah, look for the pink. And this is gonna be split out when you finally get the budget. Court and PD have a complete new fund.
Have their own.
Yes,
That'd be good.
it won't be like this within the next week.
So the theory we're working towards overall in the budget is that the police department will have a budget that is just the police department, that we actually control, what, we know what's going out, we know what's, there. In the past, we've got very confusing, so, money we pull from here and there. So once we get that corrected, then we'll be able to look at our budget, and if we see for something comes up, hey, we're gonna have to go over on this, we can always look at my budget, okay, well, then we're gonna try to get a budget amendment to move funds from somewhere else.
The only
Just
thing
make
we're
it,
really splitting out so they know is that court was wrapped up into 122. So all of court, their supplies, everything, so it inflated Richie's numbers, Richie's salary, so it was hard for him to track.
Wasn't life changing, but it will make it simpler and probably the way it's supposed to be, I guess, just for simplicity. So really, if you look at our budget, the only really, we've got two things. One, we have 2 police vehicles on order. One of those vehicles will possibly be here in a couple months. Under our current agreement, with those, the council voted to do a 4-year lease thing on.
Yeah, it's through Lotto State Bank. So once we sign for the lease for car one,
Car
when he gets
one.
here, the first payment will be due a year from that day.
So if we get a car in, say, August, that car, we will have to budget for one payment in next year's budget. The next car, we're not anticipating until after October. So it won't be budgeted until, not the one we're
Was
working
car
on.
one replacing the last Explorer, or is that in addition?
No, the other Explorer's going. So
Yeah,
yeah. They've got rid of the Expedition and the other Explorer that matches the one that's out here.
Yeah,
Those
so
are offline.
we'll actually, we've been at 6 vehicles, we'll actually be at 7 for a little while, but that other vehicle's gonna have to go. By the time we get these up and running, that other vehicle will go.
So eventually that one's gonna go.
Yeah,
But we are actually, if other departments our size, we are operating very lean on vehicles, which is fine, it works for us. But we are operating, as opposed to Jordan and, these other cities that we're pretty much, everybody has their own car. So just so in case there's any question, we are not operating, we don't need it. I mean, we will as we grow, but right now, we can get by with what we've got. So that's the only issue there. So potentially that's what, a $10,000, $12,000 payment?
I have to go back and look at it, but
So we'll have to do that. Another line item we have here is repairs and maintenance systems and equipment. I think you'll see $25,050 for the current fiscal year budget. Do y'all see that down there? It's,
Yep.
So that covers our, a lot of our programs, our E-Force, which is our reporting system. Now, it does do CopSync. There's a different line for CopSync, which is probably ought to eliminate and put in with this one. Right, Matt? Probably be sensible. And then, LensLock, which is our body cams, and which will actually be some car cameras coming in, and these new ones will be in there. So if based on that, I mean, if we could probably move that up to about, now there's a lot of different stuff that covers. We will have to increase some of our, because we have more officers, more full-time officers. So some of those things like E-Force and CopSync are gonna go up a little bit. So that I'm planning, maybe we could add about 5,000 to that. For example, we just had to replace a laptop screen for $800 on a laptop in a car. It had a little crack, and it was already a refurbished laptop, but I couldn't find one available, but it would cost me another $1,000 to buy a docking station for a different one. So we got that replaced. So we're looking at about 5,000 more there to maybe put that in the 30,000 range. And then in miscellaneous equipment, that's at 13,000. I'd like to move that to, I think probably 21,000 would be nice. We're gonna try to get a drone. Now, this is a police drone package, infrared, all the software that tracks it. You have to put it on your website where people can see your flight patterns and everything. And those run, the bids we've got are around just shy of 10,000. So if we can bump that miscellaneous equipment to 21, I would spend, that's about what, how much is that, an $8,000 difference, Matt? 21 and 13 is what, 8? So then we need a couple thousand that out of the existing 13,000. So we get 21,000 there. All these other line items we've got are fine. We're still able to get by. I will tell you, supplies have gone through the roof, but we're still, we've got enough in there to kind of make it work so far. Everything from taser cartridges, ammunition is down a little bit, thank God, but taser cartridges, for years we bought them at $25, $26 a piece. Now they're closer to $50, and we have to have 2 cartridges to requalify each year. Paper supplies, one I've told you all about, thermal paper we use in our printers in the cars, for example. Those have went from a case of 24 of those was $69, $72 And in the last 2 years now, they're $159. So what we were budgeted this year, we can go with next year. I mean, we're not hurting. So really those are the two items that I would only suggest some sort of an adjustment in. As far as,
Question for you, so I'm looking at the pink, I got a miscellaneous 6604 at 13,000.
yes, sir.
And then I got a miscellaneous, 6799 miscellaneous at 4.
I don't know what 67.99 is.
So let's try to figure out, and, you know,
That's,
I know we gotta keep some that is a little broad, but if it's something, you know, say for instance, like the drone,
that miscellaneous, I believe, was the one they also used to pay for.
$67.99, I believe, under court.
It's
That's
the court, yes, sir.
Yeah, that's the issue. It's not actually, and we also had another miscellaneous that we used to pay all the, like for keeping up with the EMS shed and everything. A lot of that used to come out of a miscellaneous that I had in my budget, but I don't even know where that is now. We do have we have charged a few things to miscellaneous, but we don't have anything routinely that goes to miscellaneous. Normally, that's the last things I've seen is when we've hired, like advertisements for hiring and polygraphs, I think went out of miscellaneous, but obviously we haven't spent, I mean, I haven't had any expenditures in miscellaneous of any amount over maybe $700 or $800 all year. So I know it's one of those was had quite a bit spent. Is that correct? I believe.
the one for.
Yeah, that one's over, so I don't know where that comes from. Again, I don't know. That's not us.
I'm just saying, if we have categories, just label them, if it's something we need to create or something unique, let's go ahead and do that.
Well, I
I
think
know
that,
you couldn't put the drone under the vehicle and accessories because it's not attached to a vehicle. I know we have a category on there.
yeah, I think that would, normally it's miscellaneous equipment where that would fall under it. And like I say, once they get that cleaned up, it'll be easier, because again, like you say, just what you read, it would appear that I'm over budget $1,000 in miscellaneous expenses. Well, that's not me. I haven't spent $5,100 in miscellaneous expenses. Somebody has, but it wasn't me.
The number of officers, you know?
Sir?
The number of officers?
We have 9 full-time currently, we have 1 vacant. Now, if we want to talk personnel, you know, in a perfect world, we would already be hiring additional officers to try to prepare for what's happening out here.
That's my next
Okay,
question.
that's in a perfect world. Unfortunately, one, the expense would be quite a bit, and we're still not even able to go full staff right now. We're gonna probably re-advertise after the 1st of June.
Well, we've added, I mean, from 2020, 2021, we've added, right?
From 2021, we've added a total of 2, well, since, was it all of that? We added 1, we had a night position that was gonna be added, and then COVID hit. So we didn't add that until after COVID when we hired John. So that was a night position. And then when Paula came to City Hall, we really took her position, which was her hourly rate. She was basically costing us what a policeman was. So we kept her position and made it a peace officer position. So, and when I came over in '99, we had 5 full-time, and now we're at just full strength of 10.
Yeah.
But we'll tell you, based on population, based on when you get in here and you start seeing these truck stops and stuff, you're gonna see a big shift in the way the calls operate. So I think right now, I mean, financially wise, the best thing for us to do is hold this year, monitor very closely, but we may, I mean, you know, I would suggest I would say next year, you know, we're gonna have to add, and I'm not sure what the economy is gonna do, I'll tell you the truth. You know, I'm a little more pessimistic. But if the economy blows and goes and the population doubles, well, obviously, you know, we're gonna need, you know, more policemen. Because otherwise, you might as well be waiting for somebody to tell you the plane's coming in, that guy, because it's Fantasy Island or something, because it's just what it's gonna cost us. But I think this year we're okay.
So council, don't look at that end number on the sheet you got for salaries for the police. It was was just, it miscalculated there. So, a policeman started at $24 an hour, the overall cost to the city after everything, this is without any incentive pay, is call it 77,000.
Patty, they have this up there. They have the whole.
No, but your numbers are the old one, it's still calculating where it's a total cost of 132,000. It's double calculating on one. That's all. It's-
So I believe, well, I don't think we have much option based on the budget probably, that we're gonna have to ride this year out and monitor closely what's going on. And, again, things have moved slower than we anticipated. Truck stop got delayed by 6 months, now they're back up and running. Of course, we don't even, I mean, Stripes was supposed to have been open a year ago, I guess. So, you know, we've been given, God's been on our side, we've been given a little more free time, a little more, you know, breathing room. And what is the correct number of officers for a department our size? It's really, you can't base it on population because we're not serving our population, we're serving a
Now,
much
here
larger.
recently, we already made an adjustment on salaries, right?
Yes,
Okay, so we already made an adjustment on salaries. I'm not gonna say, I mean, the cost of living, I get that, that's completely, but
No, I didn't say anything about cost, sir.
we already have in a sense of the salary increase. We made an adjustment based on availability that was there, right?
But I didn't question, I didn't say anything about cost though.
No, no, no.
Oh, I didn't know if you thought I said something. Oh, okay.
No, I'm just
Oh,
saying,
I
I'm
was
looking
talking.
at the numbers and trying to figure out where we're at. Because we've actually gone up drastically in the police department. And nothing
Sure,
bad, it's a good thing that we're doing, we have to do that. But that's pretty significant from
Well,
2021.
we went up on the hourly pay for the officers, but we stayed within the amount allotted in their salaries. So we didn't go up in salaries, we just
yeah, we
Yeah,
actually
because we
lost,
had a pot of money, right?
we actually lost 2 or higher ranking people. So instead of, you know, we just use that money on the lower
So as
entry
long,
level.
so as long as we stay within the same where we're operating, and then we just do the cost of living, I think we should be okay.
Yeah, we are, I mean, that's,
We should be okay. We just need to we gotta understand, in a sense, for the future as we prepare, that if any increase, that's gonna be the one that is gonna cost us more.
sure.
So we add police officers, we need to be prepared to have that flexibility in the budget.
Oh, there will be, it is not cheap. It is not cheap. There is nothing, it is very difficult to find people to do this job. I mean, all departments are struggling with it. And we're fortunate that we don't have a high turnover rate. But we're, right now, we're fine. But I would be derelict in my duties if I didn't say that we do have to be seriously planning because of the growth that, you know, we're talking about all the time. I mean, that is something that's gonna affect our, if you put 2,000, 1,500 new homes, it's gonna change what we do. But that's only a small portion. The commercial, HEB, that area up there, normally, I haven't looked at this year's, 10% of our calls normally are to HEB alone. Now, that's what's been numerous years in a row. So the more commercial you get, you can see an increase like that.
So Richie, the question is, do we need to add a slot
No, I think we're fine for the coming year.
for this year?
Yeah, for the year we're working on right now, because we can't fill the one I've got.
We still have one open, yeah.
Yeah, so I think we're
I'm just
okay.
asking,
Yeah.
for budget purposes.
No, I think we're fine. I mean, you know, I'm not I don't believe in asking just because, I mean, I could come here and give you all kinds of, I could give you a big thing and show you we probably need 2 more people. But that's not, I mean, that's not what that's on paper. That's not my gut feeling as a police chief and my experience here. We need to get through this year and see what's happening. That makes sense?
I have 2 questions.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
When a new officer comes in, are there any contractual requirements or anything in the contract that they have to stay a certain amount of years or?
The only way you're gonna get that is if you pay.
No, clearly, there is no contract with a new officer coming in that they have to be employed by the city for a certain amount of
The
time.
only way you get a contract is if you send them, like I got a buddy just text me today with church up here. Kerrville sent him to the police academy. Okay, they
Oh,
paid
the
him,
contract works the other way around.
yeah, they send him to the police academy, and when he gets out, he has to stay there 3 years, or he has to pay back the academy cost. Or some places will offer a hiring bonus and you have to stay there a certain, so if we tell someone, the problem is, we should have anything to offer them. I mean, everybody's hiring. So there's really no reason for someone to come here to sign a contract when they wouldn't have to anywhere else. Unless you, I don't know what unless you have them like, you provided them housing or something like that, I guess.
Well, that leads me to the second question, which would be, when you bring in a new person, how long before they're out on the streets?
It would depend totally on if they're fresh out of the academy. Before they're probably able to function completely by themselves, it could be 6 months. If you've got someone like Roger, they could be within three months completely good, but Roger could, right now, at 30 days, could function, almost at 100%. It's all on what you can get, and we've had a variety, we have a variety of
How long has this, open position been open?
well, we held when Matt, a year ago, we held it for 6 months. Okay, when Matt first moved over here. And then we were gonna advertise, I guess, that first year. Well, before we could do that, Frank retired, which we didn't anticipate. But it's really not, because like the mayor said, we added some positions. So we just now have the 9th position because when we added the 9th position with that deal with Danny, then like 2 weeks later, Lewis was in that position. Matt left to come to City Hall. So we've actually only, we're just now for the first time, if we get 30 days with 9 officers, that'll be the first time we've ever had that. And we're about 5 days away from that. I think that's my correct. Because Lewis came on right after you left in May, and you left early May or mid-May. So then the 10th position, which was really Danny took it, but anyway, then when Frank left, it opened that position up. So that position is the one we've got open right now.
So,
Since December, Frank left in December, so yes.
and the reason I ask that is because you talk about adding people next year. What about 6 months from now? Hey, we're looking at adding somebody to come on for 2024, and it's gonna take you
Yes,
whatever.
Yes.
Say it's 3 months, but
Yes.
still the need, because the stripes, the truck stop, the new homes, they start breaking ground on Rosewood, that you need somebody over there
so,
full time.
yes, so what you're saying is, so when we've talked about, I don't know if you and I talked, or Ever and I talked, well, we talk about this all the time, to everybody, but you can always come back in here and say, look, just like we did with the vehicles, I mean, we're gonna have to go in and order them, so you could, in the summer, next summer, or this time next year, the council could say, look, we know you're gonna need some people starting in October. Start the process, so maybe in July or in August, you start advertising for a position that becomes available October 1st. So you can hedge your bets if you get in a bind and you need to.
I don't wanna see us get in a bind, because I can't think of, many more things more important than public safety.
Well, I mean, it's, the problem is it's expensive, and I mean, I could justify all kinds of
Hey,
positions.
everything's expensive, but I mean, folks, our residents, and then feeling safe and secure in the city with everything going on in the area. But I think peace of mind goes a long way to people wanting to live here. They live here, they're gonna spend more money here, so.
I
it's
got
like kinda
a
offset.
wonderful email from a guy today who told me he was so happy that our response was so wonderful and everything. He said, I called and talked to the desk sergeant, and he was such a pleasant guy. That was me he talked to. He said, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to demote you, but, it's a tough job. We do a good job, but again, it's still in a perfect world, but I'm comfortable with what we've got going into the next budget year.
Council, what we've asked every department head to do is let's do new 5-year plans. When we had those, we used to really use them and forecast. It would help office staff here in finance when we start to anticipate our budgets. And hey, we already know that in year 3, 2 years from now, we're adding a policeman, we're adding a public works guy, we're adding this big piece of equipment. Is that a finance, or is that something we're gonna cover? It's hard for, right now, we're doing it every year. And we need to forecast stuff out 5 years. So if we need to do a big ticket item, we finance it out and we figure out that payment.
Replacement of vehicles, you already know when they're gonna replace them.
Well, vehicle's a whole nother question, because now it takes you a year to get a vehicle. So, do we need to be, of course, it wouldn't matter Because if we got in the middle of the year and we needed one, we could order it, we wouldn't be paying for it for the next year either if we got in a bind. I mean, that's a whole new scenario. Council used to say, Chief, we had some extra money, they said, go buy a vehicle. I got on the phone the next morning, went and picked up one and in fact, Ernie went over to Nederland, picked up a Crown Victoria, drove back over here. 2 or 3 weeks, we ordered everything we needed. And one weekend, the guy put it all in there and you're good to go. Those days are no longer anywhere around.
And the current number of vehicles we have.
We have,
Could afford to have out of commission.
well, we have a 2017 Ford Explorer that's been rode hard. We have my police truck. So we have 2 2017s. We have a 2019 Dodge Charger that's possessed. You know, I mean, it's been all over. It's terrible. And then we have 2 2022 Tahoes. Do we have 5 on there? Yeah, we just have 5 right now. So we have 5. So how many can be out of service right now? I mean, really, like if you have any special events, you really just can bear without one being out of service. But, one, and that gives you, we got some bicycles though.
I see Richie with the old Star King Hutch with a light on the roof.
Yeah, well, there you go. We got the public works yard next door. We're gonna start, that new Bobcat's pretty cool, but that's the story on the vehicles, and I think we'll be okay. We'll see what happens. If we keep that 2017 for a while, that'll give us 7 vehicles, temporarily, because the other one won't last very much longer.
Do anything would allow you for any vehicle that went out of commission.
Should be okay. I mean, sometimes we've had as many as 3 vehicles out all at once. You just can't really, of course, normally when you have a lot of older vehicles, that's when you have the problem. So we don't really have that issue right now. But if you're not careful, you get a lot of older vehicles and they're all, wore out. I'm sorry, you had a question?
Yeah, do we get any assistance from any other officers outside of y'all that live here in the community?
Well, I mean,
Not that it's their job to do that, but I mean, usually police officers always go up to you and say, we need any backup or,
well,
we're here.
we've got a couple of Anacostia County bailiffs that live here in town. But the problem is their vehicles are not equipped for patrol. They don't have body armor, cameras and stuff. So those guys are pretty much, in emergency. But police work has changed since I started. These guys, gals, policemen now, we can call Medina County, or Anacostia, or Bexar County, and they'll send deputies. If they're available, if they're around. Sometimes, we're the only deputy all the way out to 476, we're the only officer. Sometimes we have to go to the cost. And sometimes, Medina County can send 4 deputies at once. So, but really we can't, on a daily routine basis, we assist the counties probably more than they assist us. And that's just the nature of everywhere, But, again, a lot of people, when they get off work now, I could keep my radio with me and answer calls 24 hours a day. So it's just, it's just people are different now. And they really, when they get off, they really kind of go home and try to.
They should.
And you should. If you want to have a healthy life, you're going to have to. Now, I haven't had, look at me. That's why I'm overweight. I work too much.
The concept with the older police vehicles, public works trucks, stuff like that, we're gonna try to transition those down. So we've got an older one here that we transition. When that 17 becomes available, maybe it takes the place of one here. So we're not buying brand new vehicles for the administration. We don't really need a new one. Most of it's being driven right here locally. It's not a front end vehicle. Public works trucks, as theirs start to mileage out, maybe that can transition to the parks guy because he's not doing, we're trying to figure out cost that way versus everybody gets a new vehicle every time. Kind of thing.
I get it. Council, anything else for the police? All right, thank you, Richie.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I noticed in the same purple folder, you got communicate or community center. Is that what the blue is? Okay, let's talk about that one.
So there's not a whole lot in the community center budget. It's just the 12 items there. I really don't have a wish list on that. I don't know if Matt does. other than, the concrete repair I think you wanted to do?
So at the community center, we developed a leak in the roof. There's a bucket catching it currently, it's a small leak. It needs some work. We've got some money that's been put in the fund for just that. I think, we're gonna look at trying to use that money this year, or this budget year here. We'll have to work with, TRC, our engineers, with the amount, and just see how much we can get rehab. First, starting with the foundation, because if the foundation ain't no any good, you might as well not do anything else, but if y'all been up there, it's aged. The floor needs to be completely replaced, all the ceiling tile. It's got some wear and tear on it, so it's time we take care of it.
How old is the roof?
I don't know, James, do you know? I mean, it's been the same,
I think it was built in 92.
yeah,
wasn't
it's the same thing since I've been here that I'm aware of.
it? That's a metal roof.
It's metal?
Yeah, it's a metal roof.
Oh, and it's leaking.
We've got a drip in it this morning.
Where is it, in the corner, center?
It's center left, almost equal with the chandelier, but towards the windows and Priest Boulevard. Kind of on that edge right there. But I mean, it needs some repairs. It needs some TLC. So that'd be my thing.
Is there anything we need to add to the budget, or
What about
work
the
with
con-
what we got?
I think for that, guys, we're just gonna work with what we got in that town.
Okay.
We could, I mean, we could probably spend a ton, but
You know, the concrete repairs, did you
concrete repairs.
I think we said one of the CDs.
Foundation.
The foundation, yeah, we got the, I think it's called, our identified as like the Wanera Fund CD or something like that, 180, 70 something thousand.
The only thing with the community center for a budget or line item, we just need to add the Wi-Fi.
I think we're gonna carry that, do we wanna do that under that, or carry it under an emergency management expense, or how do we wanna carry that?
I put it under emergency management.
I leave it up to you.
I think it's so
Decide
cheap,
where
we can
we
look
feel
at it,
appropriate.
if in the next budget, this one we're working on, if we can move it as an expense under that, I'm okay with it.
We need to track it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wherever you
And then
feel
if, I think Paula wanted to go up on the senior activities, if we're still doing those quarterly,
Was it?
seniors,
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
do we have enough money in that? How much have we been spending every time?
No more than $150.
Oh, never mind, okay, I
No.
thought we were spending more than.
No.
We're still looking at doing that quarterly.
Yes.
We do that quarterly, we have the community outreach too, it's not a lot. I think, what did we say? About $200?
Yeah, you for every bunch of that, I think.
Yeah.
And that Wi-Fi will come in.
Yeah, this is gonna be our next one, the June, this will be the first one that we'll have a chance to utilize it.
And that line item you see there for tourism promotion really shouldn't be in that 170. That's actually hot tax spending.
Yeah.
So just kind of ignore that because that's going to be redone with this new budget.
We'll get it somewhere else.
Yeah.
That'll be good.
But the plan is to move forward with trying to use the community center as part of promotions.
Matt and I are going to address that here shortly, but we're about to renew the community center, but I'll let him because this is.
So for us to spend hot tax money, we can't spend it on a community center. We can spend hot tax money on a convention center.
Or a civic center,
So,
however we want to say it.
I mean, I'm just thinking, the
But
one
you are
year, one that
looking at-
donated all, the one year
Yes.
convention center,
We're
civic
looking
center,
at the
something like that.
legalities of it. I've got to really get with Austin on this. When I say Austin, it's in Austin, Texas, not our attorney Austin, just to make sure and that I'm dotting my i's and crossing my t's on this one. But, yeah, that is a little.
Then we work on hosting events. Come up for them here.
I think that would be beneficial to the city. Definitely.
And I will tell you that with the community, with the income coming in on that, because that reflects in the beginning part. Liza came in with the book today, and we're booked for months, just almost solid every weekend.
Our next project, we'll revamp the rental agreement at the annex. That's probably the next one we need to look at and work on it, but I don't really want to rent it out yet. There's still too many things in there that we need to move around and adjust before we start renting it.
How is the AC system in
In the annex,
the annex and in the main?
they both work good. I'm waiting, so we partnered with CPS Energy again. Every 5 years, we're allowed, or we're able to bring in a contractor that they pay for. They come look at all of our AC units, do all the readings, check them for tune-ups, and give us an expected, like, hey, it needs to have this done. You should expect to replace this one, in a year or 2 years. I can tell you, when I walked around the community center, all 5 AC units look pretty old. So
Do you know when the next inspection will be?
I'm waiting for them to schedule it with me. They're supposed to reach out to a licensed HVAC company because we've got, I counted 18 AC units in the entire city. So they're trying to get a vendor to come out and do them all for us at one time. They don't do any work, but they read all the tunings and say, hey, if it needs a little minor tune up, they'll do it. But
It's part of the program, the Energy to Business, right? The E2B, something like that.
something, yeah, clear something they call it.
Waste not.
But at least we can get an anticipated, when we build our 5-year plan, hey, we think we're gonna replace these ACs in 2 years, we can start to figure that into a budget.
All right. That's anything else on the community center?
Just need to get those repairs done on it,
Yes, sir.
otherwise no one's gonna run it.
It's nice, but when I walk in there, I sometimes feel embarrassed that it's our community, I think we can do more.
I mean, it's 30 years old, it just needs to be renovated.
Yes, sir.
Good. All right, streets/park.
So streets and parks are kind of wrapped up into one, which I'm gonna separate those as well. So when we talk about streets, let's just separate them for a minute and any kind of, I guess, wish list that we want for the streets. What are we looking at?
Here's my concept on streets. It goes back under Public Works. That's really where streets belong. That's who's doing our repairs. It's under Public Works. And we moved some employees around to help our budget on the gas side and pay them out of streets. I think when we created the Parks Department, it was just easy to keeping in streets and it worked. Parks will come out and eventually have its own set of line items.
Right.
So on streets, what are y'all thinking? Are we still trying to keep the 50,000 a year for the street repairs for next year? Maybe since we're doing 600 and some odd thousand this year, we forego a year, I don't know, you tell me.
How far does 50,000 go?
Very little.
Or,
That barely covers, the inspectors.
So-
You gotta remember, now we do 50, so an engineer is gonna take a chunk of it. Remember, this year you took 26,000.
So James, where do you track with street repairs like patch and materials and all that stuff when we're doing our own internal street repairs? Do you have a line?
That's coming out of a different one.
Well, no, that, when he buys like any kind of, materials for that goes to the 130, 6700, 6717. That's where we've been coding. So it's not going to any of the 600, 700,
What is that named?
street repairs.
Street repairs. So we have another in the orange folder. We have another street repairs on there. Is that what you're saying?
oh, it's the 6712?
Yeah.
The third item on the last
Oh,
one.
there we go.
On page 6,
Yeah, it's on that one, but if we're saying that we have it under
25,000.
We don't have anything under street repairs under the gas, water, or sewer.
So we need to move streets completely under public works.
That's
We need to
what
move
I
it.
was saying. So we're gonna move that completely away from there to make it different, since we have such big line items coming up in the next 5 years.
I think for now, we need to go ahead and keep it. Move it, but keep it, because we still have some projects that we need to take care of, we need to track, we need to take care of the bollards, right? We need to take care of that one, we don't know how much material or anything else to be able to do, but we need to fix that. So there's some stuff that we're gonna need to do, and any miscellaneous, but we gotta track that, and especially anything that he's using to do potholes and stuff like that, we need to track that.
So we'll track that all under the street repairs. We won't,
Yep.
before that was really a capital improvement on streets, that was repaving the streets.
Yep.
So that will become our true street repairs
That's correct.
budget line item for 50. We'll see how the budget falls.
Because I think we have a job description that is written, it's for streets, if I'm not mistaken. There is a position that is written under streets, and that's because of the way the budget was. So we need to move it over.
What are the 4 things we can use the fines for? Fine money? Streets,
Capitals for streets, anything,
Culverts, what, mechanisms to,
or police, it goes back to the police.
yeah.
The problem, I mean, even though, yes, we are making decent money on that, if you look at the offset to some of the fees I have to pay out, or
Yeah.
like, we're not, we do have some there, but we're using that to revamp what Richie needs.
Well, no, I mean, because we're just 6 or 7 months through the year,
Right.
this year-to-date fiscal activity. So, I mean, I think if we get closer to the end of the year, we'll have a better idea as far as fines are concerned, if we can
Right.
squeeze out an extra 5,000-10,000, because,
I can see us doing that, but don't go overboard on it, because look at my fees for my municipal court.
yeah,
fees.
no, I saw
I'm
that.
already out 35,000 out of budget.
But
So
you're also
the more we make, the
over
more we spend.
what we projected last year by like 100,000, right?
Yes, sir.
Fines.
Yes.
So, I mean, we're doing good there, it's just something that's gonna vary year to year.
Right. But I was more looking at that to offset what Richie needs, because I still kind of believe with what y'all were saying up there, we're gonna need an officer sooner than later.
Well, Luke's almost 18.
I'm gonna be 21.
Maybe the law is gonna change by the time you're 18.
I do have a question for, and Matt and I were talking about this earlier. There's a line item called Reserve for Drainage Project that's been there for like several years going back. So look at 130, 600, 6649. Matt told me what it was for.
What I believe it's for, is that, I think, that was being saved up for the Ruiz Foster Way, that section.
There, Adams Street.
Adams,
Street.
yeah, but
That project's like 150,000 though.
back then,
Yeah, 3
God
years
knows
ago.
what it is now.
So what can I do with
$750 a
that?
year is
I
not
don't
gonna
want
get
to
us
keep popping, or putting that on the budget if it's kind of just, using funds, using imaginary funds.
I think we need to keep something separate for the drainage. If we're gonna put money to be able to do some of these projects, we gotta keep it
So
somewhere.
we're gonna have a new drainage utility fund at some point. It's not gonna bring in a whole lot. I think we need to go out realistically, work with TRC, let's go identify every capital improvement, drainage, everything.
How much
let's
is
get
that gonna
prices.
cost for them to do?
That's the only way we're gonna really know what our capital improvements are gonna cost us. And then every year, we just know that we increase that amount by 10%, by whatever the market is. Because we get numbers, and we could all sit here and think of a capital improvement that needs to be done that we haven't tracked, or that changes because of the way the town changed. I don't know. At some point, we gotta just go out and get certificates of obligation, start fixing things if we really wanna.
The drainage utility fund though, that's gonna be its own separate fund for revenue. And I think we're gonna be surprised on how much revenue that actually
Yeah,
generates.
I think that's where we're gonna be able to help.
And of course, what other cities have done, once they get that set up, they go out and they do a master plan for the whole city and they prioritize, okay, we need to do A, B, and C first.
Yep.
And then based off whatever you're collecting in revenue, you're gonna have to get a bond.
Exactly.
That's how you pay for Somerset Street, which is gonna be a $5 million project.
I agree with you.
So, I mean, it's gonna take time, it's probably gonna take them a year to complete that, just to get the fee set. But I think we will be surprised what we will be, bringing in each year.
But I agree with Alderman Kate, when we get that fee set up and starts bringing in, we leverage that to get a bond to go out and really fix something, and then we pay it with that fee that's coming in. That's how we make that payment.
Because what's gonna happen, of course, is we get more people moving out here, we get to 1,800 new homes that we're projecting, and everybody's pitching in $5,000 a month, an extra $100,000 a year, $108,000 that we can put
That's for
towards
drainage.
these projects. Just for drainage.
Just for drainage.
So do you want me to leave this 50,000 on for the next year?
I think we have to, because we don't have the stormwater utility fund up and running yet.
Okay.
We're just never gonna get big projects done, because every year what we bring in, we're expensing and just trying to stay up.
I mean, I think it was probably 2 years ago that the council had said that we were gonna go ahead and do that project. And now, look, it's gone from 150 to 225,000, so if we commit to a project, we need to figure out how we're gonna pay for it, not just talk about it.
Yes, sir.
Do we have any capital improvements on the park?
If you talk to people, there's a ton that can be done at the park. But I think that's another one, we just work with them and do what we can. We're gonna try to work with the same vendor that donated some sand last year. They have a program where they will come in and rehab your entire field. And then you agree to stick them on your website, do things to help that company in exchange for them rehabbing your whole field at their cost. So I think that's what we're gonna look at that. And then internally, I think if we can just do more on a day-to-day basis, we can do little projects and really make it look like $1 million out there.
So the two things, we'll tell you that it came up again with Little League, was having a facility for storage, just like they had come to us before. So I told them to come to you and talk to you. So just keep an open mind of that. Something, I told them if you don't put any plumbing or anything, it'll be a lot cheaper than trying to design.
Well, I think we went,
something.
the one year we talked about it, it was storage, and then it became the Taj Mahal,
Condominium.
because they saw big money.
It went from
We
like
need a storage
50,000
building,
to
not
200,000.
all kinds of crazy.
So look for storage in there. And then the number 2 is over in coal mine. We need to do some changes over there with some of the equipment over there
In the park, yeah.
in the park. So those would be the 2 I would say within the budget we need to figure out. And if it was 15, they should be coming to you and asking you, Matt, or in a sense for the Little League. The coal mine, we need to figure out what we need to do to fix their
Everything-
machines.
I can tell you, everything Little League has asked for this year has been accomplished. But I've had no one specifically from coal mine come and ask for anything at coal mine. I've had some people that seen some stuff and said, hey, the grass is overgrown, so we'll address that. And some equipment that needs to be done. I've talked to our parks guy and said, hey, we need to just get over there and take that old stuff down and replace it, doesn't need to have broken wood for a backboard. But I've talked to a couple of residents over there and they're not seeing anybody using the equipment either. So the time I was over there looking, I asked, do y'all see people? And they said no.
It's usually people, we'll see them like in the summer, for the summer.
Maybe that's what it is. I'm just talking to the neighbors right there, like, hey, the lights still work and everything, but
So what kind of price are we looking on the coal mine? I kind of estimate the storage shed.
oh, if you want to revamp coal mine with true park equipment, yeah, we don't have that budget.
So how much do we want to put towards a coal mine budget?
What's,
Park.
is it the rims are the worst ones? What are the,
Yeah, I mean, I think we can keep that under parks. We've got money in parks for maintenance, and that's not individual parks, that's just for all the parks. So let's just keep that in there, we just keep moving forward. We've got a
let's
lot
just
of work.
make sure that we have the money to go in and if the rims need to be switched,
I
certain
think
swings.
we have the money now to do it.
Yeah.
I just need to get our parks guy over there to get it done.
So
That's all.
the swings, the different stuff that we have. We need to paint, be able to paint. So we have to do a little bit of work over there.
How are people gonna use that equipment if it's broken?
So-
It's like
so
you don't
you-
see people there, but they're not going there because stuff's broken.
Well, the only thing that I saw broken over there was the backboard on there, but all the other equipment is really, I'll be honest with you, it's old. It's stuff that was probably okay when I was a kid. I don't know if it's even would be considered park equipment or if people even want their kids playing on it. I don't know. You use the park equipment we have at our park, the nicer stuff, and the kids are all over it. At coal mine, it's not really geared for kids.
I think the only thing that's there are those little, like, whatever they're like, it's like a little ride for the kids,
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like 4 of those, but one of them, the tree is kind of like on top of it, so it's hard to get on.
So it's small.
Yeah.
There's no parking. You have to park along the road. I mean, it's kind of a little neighborhood
It's
park.
just a neighborhood park that people are gonna walk to. They're
Yes.
not gonna drive there.
I guess people like you that walk a lot.
So we got a new council member coming on board.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. I mean, if y'all could just pause on that till I go look at it, and then we talk about it once I'm sitting over there.
I'm just saying, let's have some money there.
So we're gonna have-
We already have it, but we gotta have some money in there to be able to take care of some of those things, like the backboard and stuff like that. So,
We have 11,000 right now still sitting, 9,500 sitting in the park
That we haven't spent, correct?
that we haven't spent. We do have a little bit of.
We can fix what needs to be done over there.
I mean, you can get a good backboard for $200.
I don't disagree with you.
It's not something that's super pricey. It's not a glass backboard, it's not NBA level.
It's-
Just so you go out there and shoot hoops.
We'll work on it.
All right, any other wish list for the park?
I mean, noticed that, we have quite a few dead trees that need to be cut down in the park too. What's that gonna cost us? I mean, cutting down full trees is expensive.
So that's where I'm working with the Parks Department to get over there and cut them down and haul them off. If we wanna bring in a tree company, I can get an estimate to trim all the tree and get it done, and it'll look like $1 million, probably be pretty expensive though.
I mean, because right now it's a liability. It's like we have people over there and a tree falls on somebody.
Removing one oak tree at the house was almost $4,000 for a tree.
I've got one dead mesquite tree that I've been told is dead, Parks is getting it cut down. They've trimmed some other oak trees up that were already hanging low and concerned me. But if y'all got some other ones that you know are dead, or I can call in an arborist and get a cost on that tree is dead, that tree is not dead.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I look at it and say that tree appears to be dead, it looks dead, you know?
I mean, as far as like saving money, arborists, yeah, they're expensive. Grinding that stump out is expensive too, because I don't know what's buried out there. You know, we got anything, I know there's an electrical outlet over there, right, James, on the ground?
Electrical runs right through there.
I mean, as far as actually pushing the stump over with the Bobcat, I mean, now the time would be to do it because the ground's soft, but I mean, as far as saving money, you got a chainsaw, you know,
The city's got several chainsaws, yes, sir.
as long as we don't, drop it on Richie, I think we'll be okay. Someone coming in there to cut that down, they're gonna charge probably $2,500.
I'll get the tree cut down by this week.
Yeah, I had that pine at my father-in-law was 60 foot, it was about $3,000. And I had the trees trimmed in my house, that was about 1,800.
I just think where that one is for sure, we can save some money.
I'll get it down by this week.
So if we can, just that shelter, just pay close attention, see if maybe we can figure out something for that storage for the Little League over there and the maintenance stuff. The tennis courts, did we get the extra nets ordered? Okay.
Yes, the nets are there. I think they're up.
So we've got a set of new nets that we found that have been stored in Public Works for a while. You ordered some other ones, correct? Are they in already, or are they
No,
still?
they were back ordered, and then once Pete found the old ones, I canceled the orders. So,
Oh,
do you want more?
yeah, I think we were gonna buy another, I thought we were buying a Pete one. in
I would
reserve.
order them and
Well,
then,
Pete was gonna look and tell me how many he had. He said he had a couple. I don't know how
Two.
many a couple.
Yeah, he has two, he sent me a picture of them.
let's have them back order and then be able to have them when we get close to the tennis, so we can take a look. If we're good, we're good. If not, we need to replace.
I can order through Epic Sports, we have an account with them now where we're tax exempt, they'll bill us.
Just so we can, I mean, that's where our school goes and practices, so we might as well have something and make sure that we did it right before they get started. So, that'd be good.
Now,
Yes, sir.
do we still have, or have y'all, I don't know how y'all been looking into it, the exit for Comine? When the train comes and it holds up, I know y'all been hearing it for
We'll
years.
talk off to the side, Rich, I'll bring you up to speed where we're at.
That sounds like a project for a new alderman coming in.
Trying to get some of the helicopter license running.
Yeah, well, I don't wanna say something, then
No, sir, you're right.
y'all tell me when I start, well, you were too late for that.
No,
Alright,
you're coming in at the right time.
We'll bring you up to speed. The council's gone through a few things, a few options that are out there, so I'll bring you up to speed.
As far as the storage, is there liability on the city? Do we have to get insurance?
I mean, yeah,
Handle
it's-
it, handle it.
for vandal, yeah, it'd be covered under our umbrella policy, I'm sure.
Okay.
But yeah, once we get it, we'll just call the insurance company and get it added. You know.
Awesome. Anything else on any of those on the purple folder?
Is that salaries in general? Is that where we are?
No, we're still talking to, if there's anything else you want in City Hall.
Software.
Oh, this is City Hall.
City Hall in general, okay. So software, we are looking at new software. It's about 60,000 total. It would take us fully digital on our utility payment system, sending our bills out, fully digital and almost could be paperless in court if we choose to go that way, or paper light. And it would also give us work orders in the field. So our guys don't have to come in here and pick up a work order. It puts them all on the system. We could, look at in budget, put devices in the truck, something. But at some point, we've got to get ahead of the game. We mail out a bunch of bills, we get 60 or so every month that get returned for bad addresses. We actually called the last time on all 60 and said, oh no, that was my PO box. I don't have one anymore because I don't want to pay for it. Just call me when my bill's due. You know, so people, they just don't have a mail location anymore, I guess. I want to move this to where it's an email. We got a lot of people wanting to go to that now. At the click of a button, we're done. Those that want to do email, hopefully most, and we hit a button and poof, you get an alert on your phone. You get an email that says your utility bill is now ready for the city of Lytle. If you have a card stored on our site, from the text message, you can just click pay and it will process your payment right there. Outside of that, you can go to their website and enter your payment information. You never have to come in here. You don't need to talk to us. Call in on the phone, get your bill, pay over the phone. The people who still want the bills, we can still mail you the bill. We'll still handle you here through the drive-through in person, but we're gonna find a lot more people that just do it like that and then free up time in hopes that we get away from stuff in
I still think we'll have
envelopes.
about 10% of people that would like that paper in their hand, which is fine.
As long as we have the option.
Yeah, we're gonna have the option.
But we'll have all the options, but this will save so much time, and it will, I'm more, not so much with utilities, because we've got that running just really smooth, that will help probably save a week of utility time. But it will also, the stuff that Matt is talking about, court, will increase court production by 75%.
How much is that software you're talking about now?
It's about 60,000 total for everything we need to do. Some of it, like the court integration, we were set to have it done, but then they got a call and said to cancel it. I don't know what happened with that, but it never happened because, so we need to move in that direction. No, back, prior regime,
Oh,
not us, yeah. It was something that when we went to this new software with Encode, it was supposed to be integrated, but they received a phone call and said, never mind, we don't want that anymore. So we spend a lot of time in here hand folding utility bills and hand stuffing them and sealing in envelopes. We need to do a better.
My suggestion is, because of the cost savings, let's try not to make money off of this service by charging outrageous fees to use it.
We're gonna charge just the fee we need to charge for the credit card, whatever the 3.5 or whatever we have to pay back.
so, yeah, no,
That would be fine.
so even
That's what we're
though,
charging now.
I mean, I see what you're saying, but I didn't even look at it at that point, but it's more of saving so much overhead and burden, time and effort on the employees. 4 of us folding takes, how many days, Paula? 4 or 5 days?
4 or 5 days.
4 or 5 days?
So the
And
more
that's
people we
just-
can entice to use that service by keeping the fees low, obviously cover the cost, then the more people will use it.
We're not looking to increase any fee or add a fee.
Some fees.
It's gonna be your utility bill plus if you use a credit card fee.
Right.
That's it.
Which is understandable.
So 60K.
Yeah, I think that was the estimate I got when I thought it was about 60,000 and then there's the yearly reoccurring, but the upfront cost around it.
Okay. So the last
Okay,
budget,
okay.
we were talking software, we're talking about finance,
About what?
financial software.
Well, this is court and utility bills, so.
No, but the last budget, we were talking about software, it was the finance.
We have no creative finance, I've done the same stuff.
We didn't discuss this the last budget?
We've talked about maybe you starting to transition into some software, but we I don't know, we didn't have
Okay,
any.
so we just in the research phase.
No, I
Yeah.
upgraded the fixed assets, I brought that in, but that was at no cost. There was stuff when Matt came in and we started looking, we had the option, it just wasn't being utilized.
Yeah, yeah.
We were like,
So maybe that's what it was. We said, hey, we're
I thought we
gonna
were
add this.
talking, we were looking at permitting software.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, yes. Permitting software we did.
Right.
I'm sorry,
It's
yes.
already up and running, it's up.
Yeah,
So
that's-
that, but that's the last budget. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right.
So this is.
I was thinking finance and it was permitting.
Oh, okay.
Anything else for City Hall?
The only thing I would like, and if we're going to look at getting new copiers, I would love for court to get a new copier. They're running that really small one over there, it takes forever to run, and, if we can.
But if we go to new software, we won't be producing, correct? It'll go paperless.
It'll go paperless, but if they want it emailed to them, or if they want hard copies. So it depends, I mean,
I just hate to
I'm-
spend 5,000 or 6,000 on a big copier
No, I
when
see-
our
I see your
use
point.
would go down possibly because of the new software. I don't know.
I see your point, but how many people are gonna want a copy of that
They may.
stamp saying, you know, I'm clear?
Yeah, you wanna walk out of it.
That's my problem.
So that's another option too for leasing, if they could do citywide leasing. So that would go to the library, the main office, this is an option. But I know leasing
That,
can be
that was
expensive.
just a request from court, and I do help in here a lot, when half the time I run through here and make copies in the big copier and come back, because it takes so long.
And the beauty of leasing is that all maintenance is covered, and a lot of times the paper is also covered, because that's where they charge. They charge on the paper you use. So that's just an option to look into.
We'll have to look into the cost and contracts and all that.
Put them in there for the budget. Let's go ahead and take care of the copier needs that we need.
Then Paula had a couple of requests where she wanted to, because she's sitting in the back, but she, of course, the decorations, we're talking about getting new decorations for the Christmas. She wanted Halloween decorations and Easter decorations. And my daughter has asked to please replace that bunny suit. That she will never wear the bunny suit again, unless you get her new. Because it smells so awful.
It might need to be cleaned. I don't know if it's clean.
No, she said
It
it's
was
falling
clean.
apart.
Oh.
She said the inside, like, the pieces were falling off.
Well, it's old, I mean,
I don't know.
Yeah.
could be 15.
What do we have on the budget right now for any type of decorations or?
So we didn't have a ton in there, but I've had a lot of money put into community events. So I was thinking of taking some out of there, if y'all were okay with it. And, I'm looking for it.
Community events, that would.
What are we talking about? The current year budget or the future budget?
Future.
Okay.
Future budget, no, the current budget, we still have a lot of money in community activity and events.
Current budget will change with budget amendments when it comes to council.
So I still got 34,000 left in there, she could do it out of that, or we could push it till next year.
Well, if we have money this year and we can take care of some of these things, I mean, last year we talked about the Christmas decorations. I remember that discussion, right? We said that let's take advantage of trying to buy early. So this is early. So we're not trying to find stuff for the Christmas decorations.
So I think Paula's already gotten online and looked at some locations and getting some pricing, correct?
Yeah, at
That's
the end
what
of
we
last
discussed
year,
together.
I think he came up with a few things, what to do like in this corner, what to do in the other corner. So it's not about amounts, it's about quality in different places, right?
Yes.
So let's go ahead and get those figures or get the amounts.
Aren't there, turnkey options as well? Companies come in and they decorate your city and leave at the end.
They are, we found some and they're,
Yeah,
Yeah, we're also doing that.
yeah, they're very pricey. They're very pricey.
Looks good though, I mean.
Yeah, I brought her a catalog. She got to see a catalog from that, and that was like, I mean, they were beautiful
Nice,
decorations.
I wish I could get them all.
Yeah, they were very expensive. They were very expensive.
The other thing we were looking at too, we were looking at getting a committee or having Vital Beautiful, one of the committees to look into doing the decorations. We had talked briefly about that, touched the subject. So if we were gonna go in that direction, if we're gonna allocate money to it, I think the committee would have to drive that as well. So I don't know how serious we were about doing it this year or just in the future. But that's
I'll
something
leave
else.
that
keep
one
in
up to
mind.
Miss Paula.
I would love that though.
Yeah, because that would help you
Yes. I
Great.
yes.
take some of that responsibility and burden.
But get them together early.
If you have any suggestions.
Yeah, the next few months, we gotta get this done, because Christmas is gonna be right around the corner.
Yes.
If we're trying to buy stuff with a good price, this is the time to do it. You get into the fall, it's too late,
Oh, yes.
so it'd be good. A good call. Yeah, we'll do that.
We're not looking at any employee changes, or additions, I should say, there'll be changes, but there won't be additions, for this, next fiscal year.
Across the board for city, I mean, we're looking at the 5%, we're gonna try to do a 5% raise and then bring our minimum stuff, minimum pay to 15.
So I did put that in front of y'all, if you do look at it, I messed up on Richie's on the final, if you look at the, long spreadsheet that I gave y'all, the Richie took off the formula, so don't look at the total on Richie's.
Okay.
But everything else is correct.
Yeah, the far right's gonna be off, just don't even look at the far right column.
That's a 5% across the board.
No, yeah, we're talking about the total comp liability and what it costs. We can send you on new one, that way you've got that actual total cost.
Okay.
That was just when we added it just formatted wrong.
The only one that we have right now for City Hall will be with Diane retiring and us bringing somebody else in. Are we gonna try to?
We're gonna have to look at the budget and do budget amendments for that, because right now, we didn't budget any money to bring in a third court person to train. We didn't anticipate her leaving, but with her leaving, we do, so we'll have to,
So she did give me a final, her last day will be the 31st of October. We are gonna start slowly looking for the right combination for that job. We gave Rosario the option if she wanted to go over there. She's still thinking about it. So, things are kind of still up in the air with that, but like Matt said, we don't really have it in the budget to bring in even a part-time person to even start training.
that's a budget amendment, though, we'll be looking at those very soon.
Yeah, but it would be good, whichever position you fill, is just have a little bit of an overlap. So, it'll be good. Okay. Anything else? City Hall? Any major facility stuff we need to do?
We're still trying to figure out this roof, if it's got a leak or not. We didn't have a single leak after all this rain. I came up and checked right after all the rain. The leak we do have is an AC pan, something or other that sits in a weird spot, so we'll look at that. We'll put all the numbers together, see where they fall, and then see about, if we've got extra money, we can revamp in here. Obviously, we got our ceiling tile falling down, but there's a lot of moving parts.
Paula, you didn't have any water on Monday?
No, surprisingly I didn't.
Good.
Paula's issue though is an AC system
Oh.
issue.
That's what they were
That's what I've been
saying.
told now.
Oh, it's a drain pan issue.
That is in a weird spot that shouldn't be, but it can't be moved. I don't know. I'll talk to the AC guy and find out.
Okay, so it's not rainwater.
No. And the one that is rainwater didn't leak, so.
Does it drain to the outside or does it drain into our system, our wastewater?
I don't know.
We don't know.
What the AC drains,
Yeah, the AC drain.
it drained to the edge of the building.
So it
So
doesn't
supposedly
outside.
it's dented on top, is what Mr. Bentley said. And right where my old office was, where Paula was, it all goes into one area and then it runs down the wall. So yes, it's a mixture of HVAC and rainwater because of the way it pools.
Collects.
Yes, sir.
But if we have to replace the roof here, high dollar. It's not just shingles.
Let's just get a new city hall.
Amen.
I don't disagree with you, sir, but
Richie wants
Figure out
us
how
to
to
move
pay
to
for
the Bills.
that's a
Oh,
bond.
there you go.
He wants us to move to the Bills.
You already got the little steeple thing going.
You can always go to the voters with the bond. I think we have to do a bond if we're gonna do y'all can't do secrets of obligation.
I think first building that we need to, I know this one's hurting, but the one we gotta take care of, Public Works.
Can't we just keep putting it off like we've been doing since I came to work here?
No,
It's worked so far.
We got their leak. We found their leak in our building this morning.
Found their leak in your building?
So I've got the roofer going to look at James's building to give us an estimate to re-roof Public Works.
That's
Thank you.
the original City Hall.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that tells you how old, it's been there for a long time, so if we ever do a building, we need to include Public Works, because they also need a new house, so.
Sounds like some good bond project.
But we need to keep them in mind. All right, anything else on the purple folder?
No.
All right, let's go ahead and go into utilities, here we go.
And James,
Everybody take a deep breath.
We talked about a couple of things this afternoon with Matt. We talked about maybe a new truck or another person. And we both decided that probably the best thing for the city that we need to do now is get these radio meters installed throughout the city as fast as we can. It's tying up 6 guys 3 days every month, and it's tying up a couple ladies here in the office for 2 or 3 days too, I guess. So we're thinking we need to concentrate on that next year and, work on getting as many as we, can. I believe the, 5/8, 3/4 meters are running right at $200, aren't they?
Something like, so there's a couple options we can look at, council. We can keep moving in the direction we are now and just get a little bit in at a time when we free up. James is super nice and he'll tell you he's working on it. James and them, they've got a lot of work that needs to be done and they need our help. If we want to get these meters in, we need to figure out how to do it and we can turnkey it like we should have done probably in the beginning, but we didn't. It's going to cost about $500,000. But we can keep working the way we are, but guys, James' team, they need some help. Not only are they, we got water leaks, utility issues. They're our go-to people for everything. So how do we want to do that? We can do that by just trying to get James to schedule it as he can, or we can budget overtime. So his guys come in on a Saturday, so they don't have to worry about all the day-to-day. Somebody called, they want their meter reread. Can you go do that? Because we're trying to close something out here. They can come in on a Saturday, and all they got to worry about is just putting in new meters. But the growth coming, they're going to be busy just putting in new meters on new homes.
So for example, we have to run 300 radio reads out right now. It takes me 30 minutes to prep what we call Black Betty, which is the reading box. It takes an hour to read it, it takes 10 minutes to download, and it takes Liza 30 minutes at max to check the data. Okay. On the read books, where they actually have to go out and read, we're doing how many hours, James? How many days?
3 days.
3 days, and then the girls are putting in 3 to 4 days of administrative time. Okay.
So at the pace that we're going right now, we're talking about years before we can even.
How many meters do we have in stock right now, James, at your shop?
200,
What is it? 3 something.
or 280 something.
And how many have we, not talking Saddle Ridge new development, how many have we replaced, pulled an old meter, put one of those new radio reads in the last
One.
2 or 3 months?
One.
Guys, they got too much to do. We can't get it done that way. We've got to figure out how to do it, or we'll be 10, 20, we'll all be long dead and gone. And somebody being here going, we are going to get those meters in. That's God's honest truth. They're trying hard. We either need to give them extra funding and get them out here on a Saturday.
If we outsource it, how much would it be?
Here's the problem with that is we have to put them in and they have to have at least 50 gallons in them before they read. So we got a short period of time, we have to put them in within, 2 weeks of meter reading.
Well, there's 2 ways they'll activate, talking to the guy. We can activate them with a magnet, he said,
Yeah.
or 50 gallons. Have to run through it before it starts reading and activating.
But then they got to enter them all, and I guess that takes a little time in the beginning, but we got a short span there. If we put them in, say, a week before meter reading, then we have to go out there and read it. Or like you say.
I don't know. How do y'all want to move on this? We can keep the same pace, but I'm going to come to the council and ask you. Is this a priority, or we want to keep
I
status
know
quo?
it seems like a lot of money, but it makes sense in the long run. Mostly if the houses are gonna keep coming in, we're gonna keep getting slammed with more and more paperwork on my side, with the utilities, and then we're just gonna not get these meters in.
Okay, trivia for Richie. 17 gallons are used when you take a shower.
Where you been? I thought you had a camera in my bathroom.
So 17 gallons. So you talk about the 50 gallons, so you got a family within a day would actually activate the 50 gallons. I'm just thinking of in a sense
Oh,
of
we would. If it's
how to be able to
17
activate it. It would actually be within a day, depending on the cycle.
Unless you had a single, retired person who wasn't around.
Yeah, I know.
right?
I know it'd be a while,
But I did talk to, Leatrice told me on her street in Saddle Ridge, which is one of the first streets, and there's only 4 retired people on her street. I didn't realize that. Most of them are,
so
families.
so
So radio read, how do we want to move forward on that? What is y'all's thought process?
So our current supplier or the suppliers that are out there, do they have leasing agreements or contracts where we purchase it from them with a contract or a lease, and then after so many years it becomes ours, but within that contract they do the install as well?
I don't know on that. I did talk to the same
We buy these
company.
outright.
Yeah, it's,
We pay for them.
No, but what I'm saying is when you purchase it, that's part of the purchase plan is that they come and install it.
Well, see,
Based
that
on
would
a certain
be, that
type
would be
of
hard
use.
though,
Yeah.
because we have to put the number, we have to put everyone, all of them come with a certain read number that has to go into the
The
system.
program.
Yeah,
Right, but
so
that would be all under the lease agreement or the.
so here's how the system works. I've talked to
that'd
them
be
already.
hard, that'd be hard.
They would come out, they would work with our internal staff to pull what they needed to pull. And then when they install it, they stick the data in and then we do the import into our system.
Right.
Is what they're saying. I don't know how well that works because of how we do things. They do this all over.
So when you do the price comparison as to buying it outright.
There is no lease. You just, they will find a vendor, third-party vendor. They say you need,
But that's part of your cost.
yeah, they screw
The
your cost.
bottom line, so the bottom line of them providing that service versus us purchasing it and then having our people install it.
How long does it take to put one in? If you were
They
not
they
interrupted,
could
your
dig
phone
it
was
up
not
in
ringing.
15 minutes.
But it's still
Put
avoid
about four or
availability.
five in an hour.
Yeah, it's not really the time it takes, it's the availability.
Well, I'm just saying, if we do block some of these guys off and, where they're doing nothing but concentrate on that for a certain period of time, can we get anywhere? That's my thought.
We were supposed to do that now, we haven't made it anywhere because they're so busy with everything else.
I guess I'm not coming across right. Sorry, Charles. I guess I'm not coming across right. What I'm trying to get at, is there a service available where you can purchase the meter and with that purchase price, you get the install from the company you're purchasing?
Yes, it's gonna be $500,000 or $600,000 and they'll do our whole city. And then we were caught up and then we only install new meters and new subdivisions
But
as they
that's
fall in.
the whole overall project, which we're not ready for. If we do the existing.
No, that's the existing
We're ready
city.
for that.
No, we're ready, that's $500,000 or $600,000 to get us
So
fully
it's not,
radio
it's
beat.
not per unit or per number of meters. It's a all or nothing.
No, they factor out how many units you gotta come in, how many meters you have, what sizes. It's gonna be roughly $500,000 or $600,000 talking to the guy
So
with
we
rough
can
numbers.
do a group of 100. Have them come in, do the installs, pay X amount of dollars per unit.
Yeah.
I guess I'm not coming across.
I mean, they
what
can
I'm
do, they can
talking
do the
about.
whole city in a month.
But I'm not asking that. What I'm asking is if there's a possibility to purchase a certain group, like 100 units, have them come out and install those 100 units at a set price.
Well, that's what Matt.
That's their price.
Yeah.
We don't get
The
the
whole
system.
city.
The $500,000 is for the whole city. I'm not talking about the whole city.
Right.
I'm talking about 100
Well, yeah,
meters.
I'm sure we can do,
We can do
50
20
to
meters a day,
But can you?
but if you give us a week,
Right, but we
why can I have
can.
100 in there?
So what I'm saying is with those 20 meters, if we were to set 100, purchase 100, whoever we're purchasing it from, they'll come in and do the installs. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Just to see what the cost is for that.
we can do that. It's per meter, it's probably gonna be more than if we
Obviously.
did 500, but I mean, however y'all wanna move forward.
I'm just saying that that's a possibility to look into.
There you go, Charles. How many of our guys does it take to swap out here?
One.
One guy?
Okay, here's what we do. We send the guys out to dig up the old meter. We send 2 guys out and they went out the other day and dug up 20. Okay, you gotta have a plastic meter box. You gotta get rid of the cast iron ones. So, and then someone else can come and, they have to use 2 washers to break the old meter. They gotta take the reading. They gotta take the ID on both meters, the readings on both meters, write it down. It takes about 15 minutes per meter for another guy. And then when he gets through the first row, they come back and set the new meter boxes and cover it. So it takes them 10 or 15 minutes to dig it, 5 minutes to cover, and another guy 15 to set it. So
30 minutes for me.
it takes about 45 minutes per,
And I asked that because saying 600,000, right? The whole city, we need that. We're transitioning to these radio read meters because currently it's eating up a lot of time having to process all that, to swap them out, do other stuff you need to do. What is it gonna cost us to hire 2 more public works people? Because we're gonna need them anyways over the next several years. And
So-
train them, I mean, it's a matter of,
I think the difference I was looking at is if we did the other option, we go get a loan or something to cover that cost. Because we're not gonna be able to cover that out of the budget. Otherwise, we figure out where we cut out of everybody else's budget to fund that we got a lot of wants coming in, but we don't have a lot of money that's gonna come in with it. I hope it starts to come in, but
The read on these meters, are we seeing an increase in people's bills because they're more accurate?
I don't see that.
We're gonna make more money, because the older the meter, they slow down.
Yeah.
So when they want you to replace those meters every 10 years.
Now, what are the meters we have?
Probably most of them in the ground over that, look at the Saddle Ridge, they've been in there, what, 12, 13 years now?
Saddle Ridge?
I mean, not Saddle Ridge, Lake Shore.
Oh, 2007, 2008.
So I don't know if we've ever collected data when we pulled the old meter and put a new meter in. I don't know how many of those we have, and said, okay, for the last 3 months, what was their bill under an old meter and what was their bill under a new meter? Was it up because it was more accurate, or were they about the same?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking about expediting this process because, using a lot of time, right, using a lot of man hours in multiple departments and probably losing out on some money too. Because they're not as accurate.
You're probably listening, at least, I mean, we have the end read date that is going in there.
How many total meters do we have remaining to swap out?
I mean, what's that?
How many meters do we still need to swap out?
We have
Oh,
1,500 accounts and we have 300 meters out.
1,200.
At least 12, yeah. And the other day, we just got, we got the nipples and valves for 109 on Saddle Ridge. But they hadn't paid for them yet, but they sent us the material.
Yeah.
So nonstop, just doing meters, we're looking at 2 months, that's the quickest we can probably do that, right? Just,
It depends if they get called out on something.
that's what I'm saying, if you have extra people just
Oh,
doing,
extra
just
people, yes, sir.
just doing that, as
Yeah.
opposed to bringing in somebody, spending $600,000. What is that, where are we coming up with that money, right? Everybody else suffers. We have to go out for a CO to get it.
And we'd have to get a loan or something, yes, sir?
So even if you would bring in one additional person, that person could be focused on that.
It's a two-man job, I guess, is my thought process.
Is it a two-man job?
Yeah,
You need two people working at the same time.
you could probably do three meters maybe an hour. I mean, you gotta dig them.
Here's my thing then, council, I'm gonna say, if we're gonna look at really doing this, hiring 2 people, then it's known that it's all those 2 people are doing until all the meters are in. Because what we're gonna have is those 2 people are gonna get pulled off to go do this job, and then we're gonna be back here 6 months, a year, or 2 years from now having the same conversation.
I mean,
We're never gonna
the
move.
people we bring over, they're up to speed yet on doing the meters. I mean, there might be people that are already familiar with the process.
So if we bring in just a manual labor, we have the rate that Matty was talking about, our overall out of pocket is gonna be $46,000 once we do it. Still, I still think we would save money in the long run, mostly with the administrative fees we're putting in here.
Yeah, we gotta figure out a vehicle.
So 90. So here's the thing, let's put the numbers together so we kind of have an idea. Now I'm looking at what Michael's talking about, and I'm thinking, okay, instead of doing the full-blown thing, if we do a quarter of it, that's 300 meters. You said you've got about 1,200, right, meters that are still out there?
At least,
Yeah, so we can come up with an estimate for the 300, see how much that would actually cost, so we can kind of get an idea of how fast it is gonna take and the process that goes along with that for the contract. Because even if you bring the labor in to go ahead and do that, you have the cost of the vehicle, you're gonna have the cost of still buying the meters, right? And the programming that goes along with that, right? So, but let's put it all together. It might be cheaper to bring somebody in when we put all the numbers together compared to bringing
We'll
somebody.
work on 3 options.
why don't we take one of the biggest books we got, that's got somewhere between 250 and 300 meters, and do one book. See what it costs to do one book.
That would be a quarter.
We got 6 books.
Why would we do the biggest one? Why don't we do,
Well, they want.
No, let's do a quarter,
Let's
just so we
do
have
3,
realistic.
let's do book 3, that's,
Yeah, we got book. We're
The
working on
thing
book
about it
2. We
is,
got it
if we
going
do
on
a
summer
quarter of it, we're gonna make an assessment of not only the cost, but the time that it took to get it done, right?
We're talking about third party it or have them do it.
okay.
Make sure we're on the same page
Either
here.
way.
But either way, that's gonna be the option.
Both ways.
And these personnel you bring in, can you do contract?
I mean, contract, like,
Bring in contractors.
yeah, that's exactly what they'll do.
Okay, we're not bringing in another employee.
No, they would, you know, I'm Meter Pro, whoever it is we're buying from, and I contract out with Richie's Plumbing Service, and they come do the job.
Right.
I pay Meter Pro pays, and we're having
That's
work.
your idea.
And then,
Well, I mean, we're talking about 500,000-600,000, right?
Roughly.
300. That falls in between 125 and 150,000 to 300. We're breaking it down in the.
if that's,
blocks or whatever.
they may say, you know, with that less meters, that price, you know,
It could.
I don't know,
And
we
then
get numbers and
You know,
see.
the longer we put this off, like everything else, the cost is gonna increase on doing this as well. So
I agree with you.
6 months, a year from now, it's gonna cost $175,000,
The
$200,000.
meter was $200 a year ago, and now they're $300.
Biggest cost is gonna be buying the meters.
Yeah.
You know, it's,
Cause the install time is an hour, they know what they're doing. Tops.
yeah, and
I
then,
said $300,
They were at $300 with shipping and everything, when we broke it in.
1,200. That's 300 and, for 1,200 meters, that's $360,000 for just the meter itself.
That's not including the casing and everything else that we
Yeah.
did, so how much is that?
So just the meter itself, you just buy it straight, that's $360,000
About.
for the whole city, or for the 1,200.
casing, you know.
The price is going up.
We go ahead and add another $20,000, or $20 for the casing,
It's what, 1,200?
The meter box.
meter box.
So we buy these meters, the warranty's good for a year from the day we take delivery, correct?
The day they're delivered.
The day we take delivery, we get a year warranty.
10-year warranty from the day we buy them.
That's a battery.
Full warranty, 100%. After that, it's prorated till 20.
But what's the 1 year warranty we get? I thought you told me there was some 1 year warranty, so most of our meters we had were already out of some kind of
No,
initial
no,
warranty.
it's 10-year. That's what I'm saying. Some of them is sitting on the shelf for a year already.
Okay, that's,
So, yeah. But it's a 10-year full warranty from the time we buy it.
300, so you said 300 with a casing, 320,
Yeah, so if you're 20, we don't need balance or anything with that one,
so that's 384,000. That's just in equipment,
right?
384. And they're quoting you 500?
500,000 turnkey.
But how many meters was that back? Was that 15?
That was 1,500 meters. The entire city would be done within a month.
15,
So that's 1,016 or $116,000 just for the labor and everything else, right? That's what they're charging?
Well,
I get, yeah.
That was a month ago, but
I'm with you, but I'm just saying, I'm just doing a rough estimate.
Yeah.
I
I'm
mean,
talking about it.
So being able to figure out, you know, which way with the human factor, which option would be the best way to do it. I mean, council, everybody agrees that the sooner the better, right?
Yeah, I mean, we got we got 2 councilmen here tonight, we're gonna get them, took off, but, you know, get a full council here. You know,
We're gonna have more budget workshops, so we can
Yeah,
get some more
we got
numbers.
started early this year
Yeah.
because of problems like this.
Um,
Something to figure
Be
out.
good options.
now I'm trying to figure out where the money's coming from. We would have to break some CDs. I really don't wanna go into our main fund if we don't have to.
Let's figure out the amounts first.
Yeah.
Let's figure out.
Once we know how much, then we figure out where that comes from and how we can pay for it, and if we can.
I'm gonna figure that into the budget if it's okay with y'all. Then we can look at it on the preliminary budget. You wanna do that with Maddie?
Yeah, I think we throw all these in,
So,
and then we go from there. We got
all right.
50 million expenses with this, and then we just figure it out from there, right? That's the way you.
Where it goes.
Alright.
What else besides radio meters, James?
I'll get ready.
I need to get that electric panel redone at the lift station. I think we put some money, we still have it in the budget, the lift station.
I think the problem is we need to get an updated quote, right? Because the last quote we had was a couple years old and it was 15,000 then. So it's probably not 15,000
I got a
now.
quote on it, but I think we had 15 this year, didn't we?
Yep.
And then the other thing is, I'm gonna need a new chlorination system for the wastewater plant too.
How much?
I don't know. Craig Bell was talking about the one like we got at the water well. But that was the fiberglass building and everything, but I just need something to get us by for a couple of years till he,
So that's the thing, we can't, our chlorination building, when we build a new wastewater treatment plant, is gonna be somewhere totally different, brand new, 100%, runs everything. So now we're trying to find a stopgap on a piece that's broke, and been broke for a little bit, I guess.
Yeah,
So how can we fix what we have without buying all brand new stuff to get us back operational?
I guess I'll have to, we called someone from Corpus that does this type of work, but he never got back with us on it, you know. He was kind of trying to get us a setup for, that was compatible with what we got now, that would,
There's a company that came down and helped us out from Houston. They gave us a really good deal.
That was
This
on
last
that,
time with retrofitting or actually rebuilding.
yeah.
Was that
Let me
company?
reach out to them again.
Can
Have
we
to go
get
look at
them
their
out
name
here
again.
to give
That's
us
who
an
did
estimate?
the wheel that they were fixing.
The company from Houston.
when's he gonna do it?
They're still working on
The
it.
wheel?
Yeah,
Can't remember the name of them.
Gotta give him a call.
yeah, I mean, I just coordinated the payment of it, so if you've got, we can call, if you need me to, I can call and get an update.
Let's
I
get,
don't know if they do chlorination or not. The people we talk to in Corpus are the people we buy our chlorine from. So they have the heads and everything, but I just need to touch base with them again.
but we need multiple, I mean, we need to check with multiple people so we kind of have an idea, but
Yeah.
might as well do the Corpus and the Houston people. At least we got two different sources, see what the amount is gonna be. Because if we need to take care of the chlorination, we need to take care of it, right?
Well, I mean, we have it working now, but it's not fully automatic, you know.
Ballpark was that gonna cost?
Well, the last one we had set up was like $2,200, you know, for the setup. But that's been 18 years ago.
I put 20,000 in there for some kind of capital improvement.
That was that the sewer? That was probably the switch, the panel he was talking about.
But I haven't touched any money there.
Some of this, we just need to get new estimates on to see if we can cover it. I mean, the money's in the budget this year. We can work on it. If you need help, James, get me. I can help you start tracking stuff down.
I'll make some calls out. I can call that guy from Houston, I have his number, and I'll ask him about our wheel while I'm there.
And I've got 20,000 in the gas system too. Nothing?
Yeah, no, we don't need to touch anything in gas. We need every penny we can get in gas.
No, I'm just saying, there's still that, and I don't
Yeah.
remember why we put it there. I have to go back to my notes.
Okay, so radio meters, electric panel for the lift station, new correlation or the coordinate, or my goodness.
Chlorination.
Coordination system.
Chlorination.
Chlorination. I know, say it 10 times quick.
How much is
What
it,
else?
the coordination?
He still needs to check. What
Yes.
else, James?
I would say between 24.
I'll put,
What else, James? What else do we need?
Do you want to go over the list you gave, James?
Do what, sir?
The list of,
Yeah, but this is old stuff. I'll gonna give you one after the meeting. It's,
Is there anything else on the waste treatment plant that we need to do? Anything else that we need to do? We got a few years before we get the new one in.
yeah, we just gotta keep this one going. There's just some maintenance we gotta do. We talked about getting some new rubber sweep arms, you know, replacing those.
get that, how do we, what's that first basin where all those solids are? We got to get that cleaned out.
You know.
How much does that cost?
But we're trying to figure out how to even do that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, we don't know if we can high pressure jet it. It's, the solids are building up faster than we can separate them, you know, when we drain the moisture out, the solids are just kind of staying together, so it's getting heavy. I don't know if we can go in there and jet it, break it down and get it into the drying beds or.
Have we talked to our engineer yet?
They're the ones that brought it to our attention and said we need to do something with, they're about half full of solids, which is about, what, 6-8 foot? And we need to do something with it ASAP.
Yeah.
They weren't sure.
I think we just need to do a little maintenance on it, start spending a little bit more time out there, you know.
Has any of that type of maintenance ever been done, James, out there?
Yeah, we go out there and spend, of course, they spend an hour every morning, one man, and then, 3 guys go out there on Mondays and spend the afternoon out there, but we probably need a couple men there one whole day every week, I would say.
So from my understanding, and talking with our engineers, when that plant was built, I guess their recommendation to the council then was that a guy should probably spend most of his full-time hours out there at the wastewater treatment plant. I'm not sure on that.
I was
For
here,
sure, with the new one, when we put it online, they're gonna need a full-time person, if not a person and a half, at the wastewater treatment plant, full-time. Overall planning in public works is you have your public works chain of command, public works foreman, and then from there you have your sewer department, water department, street department, and that's what those people train in, and that's what they work on every day until we have a big item, big leak, then they can come together as a whole team. Right now, our team, because of just how we've operated it's more of kind of a shotgun effect. They're kind of handling everything at the same time. It's worked, but we're getting to where we need to do more. We need to do better. That's what I'm talking to James about as we start bringing on more people. You're in, the sewer department, your training is going to be sewer when we send you off to stuff. Your licenses are going to be in sewer.
So can we handle that where we're at right now, James, or do we need to bring somebody in to be able
No,
to
I
get
mean, we
us?
can handle it, I was telling Matt, here in the next couple of weeks, we need to just take 3 or 4 days off and, spend at sewer plant. This plant was designed for everything to be manual, the new one's gonna be automatic where it takes all the wet wipes and stuff, and it'll separate it, but see, here we have to do it by hand. And if we go a couple of weeks without doing it, then it takes us some time to get caught up. And that's, we just don't have we haven't been able to, stay with it to get caught up, but we started last week, we spent some time out there, and if we had a couple more half a days, in a couple of weeks, we can get that problem solved, But the trouble is the rags and all the solids are building up on us.
Council, in my opinion, and looking holistically as a whole city, our biggest need for personnel is public works. If we're gonna add a position that's the first spot that needs it before any other department, they're hurting the worst. We've got to get them the help. They're overrun. They've done well for as long as they had. But remember, that's the department that as long as I've been here, when we sent the gas system to CPS, they lost 1 or 2 employees. We've taken away from them, but we haven't given to them, yet the city's growing, and we expect them to do even more.
Going back to what we were talking about with the water meters, talking those out, about 2 guys.
I think that keeps us, if we can swing 2 guys, that keeps our water meter problem, that maybe solves that issue.
Yeah.
But it doesn't solve the time they needed the sewer plant, doesn't solve the time they need installing new stuff at the new subdivisions, doesn't solve fixing water leaks, doesn't solve,
No, he's saying
It's not a
that we,
solution though, I mean, you
Yeah.
have more people, you have all this extra work and say, well, 1 guy, that's more work than 1 person can handle, it's probably 4 people.
That's right, I don't
I'm
know.
not saying 4, I'm saying what about 2? And I'm tossing it out there, that's why we're having this workshop.
I think if we do 2, then we gotta pick or leave it up to James. You pick your priority that week on what the priority is for your guys to go do. It's radio read meters, it's sewer plant, I don't know.
can you keep 2 people busy?
Well, that's the thing, going between a contractor and bringing in new personnel. Your initial purpose for that person coming in, or 2 people coming in, would be the radio meters. And then you would put them in the rest of the department. Yeah, you're
The
just
other
utilizing manpower.
The other part of that is that we've had an open position now for a while, and we haven't got a ton of resumes.
We've got one that we hope to bring on. I need to sit with James and get those interviews done so we can hopefully offer it and it works out. Employees are hard to find.
Right.
That's why we're talking about bringing our wages up. And then if you're gonna hire somebody with a license, we've got to be ready to pay that license wage.
somebody with a water license, now that Skipper's on it?
I've talked to Skip, he's gonna let me know he's good through July, but our second water license, he is pending his application approval so we can go test. We hope to have that done. I've already reached out to somebody else, waiting to hear back from them as a plan B. But we'll have somebody, it may be a cost to us that we pay monthly, but we'll have somebody.
I mean, from the standpoint of that, we're all salaried employees up here. You can replace us easier than you can trying to replace several people in our departments. I mean, that's the issue. I mean, I see it all over. You'll get a police department will hire and they'll have 30 applicants for a police chief job. And for the same well-paid patrolman job, they'll have 5, you know what I mean? It's hard.
So James, anybody that's gonna go, say for instance, help out with the sewer, they have to be certified, right? For the sewer?
I don't think that we need to have James Craig for, you gotta have one person with a license, which is James, right?
Yes.
And then he can assign that, kind of like, they can work under his license there. Our next goal is to get the next guy up trained. So we have 2 sewer licenses when we only need 1.
I'm prioritizing right now. We need to take care of the meters, but right now, one of the biggest things is we gotta get somebody out there. This is a big issue. The solids are big. I think we need to get somebody out there and start taking care of that ASAP.
On the sewer plant.
Yes, if we're that high right now, we need to start
But I
taking
think
care
we
of it.
get caught up if we just have a couple of half a days, you know, we get it caught up.
Are you requesting overtime?
No,
Overtime time?
you know, I mean, we just schedule, we got a lot of stuff going on, you know, we got,
I know,
Copper
James,
lead.
that's what we're saying. If we need to get
we
somebody.
don't have an employee that can handle it unless it's one of, there's only 3 of us that can take care of most of the sewer and water problems, you know.
That's what we've been saying. How do we remedy this? Is
So
it
guys-
with overtime? Is it with
No,
better
well-
scheduling?
Keep in mind, we still have a water service line inventory that by law has to be done in about 12 months, 14 months, that we still have not started. There is a lot of looming things that we need to get done. James is a great guy. James will tell you, we'll get it done. We either need to, it's money. We got either hiring people and figure out how to pay for it and do cuts somewhere else, or start to contract some of this stuff out. Those are only 2 options.
On that
In my
survey, he's talking about, we have to know what size and what kind of line goes into the meter. On the city side, then we have to know what size and what line leaves the meter going to the house. And we need a GPS
There's a lot to do to
on
it.
each one. So you figure we got over 1,500 meters. You know, that's all gotta be done. How long we have, a year?
I say a year.
Chicken.
That will give us a couple months of cushion.
So why don't we do this? Let's do this. I know we talked about this. I think we need to come up with a plan. We need to come up with a suggestion, James.
Okay.
Okay? We need to get in front of council probably here as soon as possible. We need to figure it out.
Yeah.
And let us help you be able to get what we need to do. We need to plan for that study. We need to take care of our sewer treatment plant. We need to get all that. And if you're the expert, you need to help us out. Tell us, hey, I need to hire 2 people, this or this. We need to put it on the budget, something short-term or long-term. But we need to act on it as soon as possible to be able to take care of that. And I agree with Matt. I think we're behind the power curve and what we need to do. And I think that's what Charles is trying to recommend too, is being able to get some additional bodies to help us out with the water meters. Will give you extra time to be able to handle some of the other things. But honestly, if we got this, we got to put something in front of the council to make a decision. And it might be before we even get this done, especially with the sewer treatment plant.
We'll check out a couple of options each way. I'll sit down with Matt and we'll go over it and see, get back to you on that.
Let's plan to talk about it if we can. Let's talk about it for the next agenda.
Yeah.
We need to, especially the sewer treatment plant. We got to figure that out.
I mean, those are my main concerns for this budget, you know. We'll get it figured out. We'll get it done.
Council?
I mean, something that we haven't talked about in a while is our transmission lines too, kind of tying into the inventory. I mean, the reason that we have so many breaks, right?
Yeah.
Issues, because those lines are 60 years old. I mean, we need to talk about how we're gonna afford that. I think the last time I saw numbers from the city engineer, it's like $25 million. It's not gonna be a one-shot thing, it's gonna have to be done in phases, so.
That's gonna have to be after we get these bigger businesses in here and we have to go back for another CO, that's the only way I can see a package draw.
Well, I mean, there's
I
a
mean, that's gonna be
Texas
on the
Water
5-year
Development Board, I mean, the application process is time consuming as well.
Yeah.
You know, so we need to start looking at options, otherwise we're, talking about being behind the 8 ball. We're gonna be worse off than, the line was. They've been working on replacing their transmission lines for 5 years now. That'd be if we start tomorrow, so. It's gonna get more expensive like everything.
I think Matt's got some stuff going already on replacing some of the stuff, and then.
So we're trying to
talk about
get,
some stuff that's, we're having our most breaks, we're looking into that. Talked about replacing that one.
Matt was talking about it today.
I'm trying to identify with James, hey, this is, our main line, we always have breaks here. Let's get the footage, what would that, go to our engineers, what's the cost estimate to get that line done? And then let's go to the next line, that's the most important, and then the next line. I mean, because like you said, we could, everything's just money, right? If we had enough of it, we could replace all the lines. I think everybody here would tell you we'd love to just fix it all. But we got a lot of needs that just over several years were never addressed for whatever reason. Money comes down to it, right? Because we were trying to grow what we had to stay ahead of the curve, but unfortunately other stuff got left behind. So we're trying to fix it all, and it's scary because it's $25-30 million worth of that's just water lines. That's not the sewer lines, that's not any gas stuff.
I got a price from the engineer once to do a city block, doing the city, doing sewer,
That was
water and gas.
2017. Go
And
ahead.
then this is the first city block, and they want $250,000 per block.
I mean,
That was
blocks we have.
2017, so probably $1 million, I would say.
Yeah. I mean, it's $1 million to do 4 blocks. Of course,
At least, right?
you're talking about replacing the street too, because you're tearing up the sewer line in the middle.
No, you got
Yeah,
this
but
in
this-
2017.
Yeah, I know.
300,000, so now it's probably at least at $500,000 or
Yeah.
more.
Yeah, that's the cost increased 25% since then, so we're paying at least $450
But,
per block.
yeah,
How many blocks we have?
hundreds. I don't know.
450, yeah. That's 45 million for everything.
Yeah,
Actually, numbers are getting big.
Yeah, that was
I think the biggest thing is just like Matt said, there's a lot of stuff that hasn't been touched for a long time, wasn't done, so, it's our obligation to be able to do it as efficiently and as best as possible with what we have.
We're gonna have to baby step it, but I'll work with James, let's identify this water line, this, whatever, and then let's try to get cost and what would it cost to do that one? I think one of the main ones is out on 2790 north between 6710 and 463. It always breaks. That whole line needs to be replaced. So, but we've also got lines coming from our well. I mean, all that was open at one point. So now we gotta dig it all back up and replace a 6-inch service line. And then we still gotta figure out valves in the city. So we don't have to shut our whole water system down to make repair, I'll work with James. We'll start working on a 5-year plan and we'll list a bunch of this stuff hopefully.
We need to. But the stuff that we need to take care of, we need to figure that out ASAP. So those things, especially the maintenance stuff that we need to do. Anything else, council?
I think that 5-year plan is important for all the departments.
Yes.
We should have a top 5, top 10 list of
So Matt and I are about to revamp something, it's gonna look really different. Just hold out, things are about to change. So we'll have a lot more, information on you.
And like you said earlier too, just more revenue comes in, it will allow us to do more.
Yeah, every time that, I think that, the store's gonna open, they have a setback, or we're not gonna take you all on that.
It is, and I will say, but I will tell you, we're in a lot better position than what we were before.
Yes.
And we're tackling stuff, we're opening the books, we're looking at things that need to be doing. We're doing things early, budget workshops, we're taking the steps that need to happen for us to be able to get where we need to be. So I think we're in the right path, but we do have some work to actually do. So is there any last minute things, anything else?
So my final on that is just the salaries that I put in front of you, unless you had questions about that. Like Matt, I said earlier, we set it at a 5% cost of living raise. But if we are going to potentially put new people in James's department, I want to revise that a little bit before y'all.
Send us a new one.
Yes.
I don't think council, I mean, we're not making decisions, but everybody feels comfortable with the normal increase, is that correct?
Not 5%.
Not 5%, the salary survey we got, we're still behind the market.
That's
value.
what I would like to see. I would like to see,
So
because,
that's not really a raise though, Michael, that.
no,
is
but that's
cost
what I would
of
like
living.
to see, instead
So
of just
cost
saying
of
it's
living
5%.
increases throughout the United States.
I know, but a lot of companies don't get cost of living increase. I work for a company that doesn't get cost of living increase.
I'm
So,
worried about losing employees.
and that's a primary concern as well, and I agree with that. I'm just saying that, to me, I know we're not set up for it, but a merit type base increase would be more effective. But we're talking about trying to catch up.
You know,
Where they used to be.
we tried some merit raises about 10, 12 years ago. Do you remember those, Matt? We tried those. The truth is, in our environment with such a small group and all our salaries being public record, you know, it created for the equivalent of $50 to $70 or $80 a year, it created a lot of animosity between employees.
And it does.
And that's the only issue with us being public, and I can tell you, I'm not, you know, I mean, I'm out here supporting a working employee. If you want to give our salary people here 3% or something, I don't have a problem with that. But our working people, we're still, even though with our large increase for the starting people, we're still over $1 an hour less than Atascosa hires deputies. And they've constantly got openings. So we really have to be competitive, or we will find ourselves in the police world not fine. And again, I'm talking about for the working man. I mean, I'm a salaried employee. I've got some more freedom. I'd much rather give up a little on my end to take care of the working people.
So just on my side only, if you were to come to me and say that this 5% is more towards gearing up the average salary per hour to meet, you know, the overall, this overall view, I would be more acceptable to that than just to say a blanket 5% increase.
Well, a problem we've had with the city, man, let's go. A problem is we don't have any kind of pay step or pay scale. So when I hire someone, like if they go to work at some of these other smaller departments, there's pay steps, and they know even if the city doesn't give a salary increase, that a policeman with 2 years is gonna make this. Policeman. Well, in our environment, we don't have that. So when we hire someone, I have to tell them, they ask me, what about pay step? I have to tell them, all I can tell you is the city always gives a cost of living increase. You know, and it varies depending on what it is. But if I don't have that tool to tell them, hey, you may not get a cost of living, that guy's gonna look at me and go, okay, well, I'm gonna note that down. And he's gonna go up here to Incarnate Word where they're starting at $60,000 a year to ride a bicycle along Broadway over there. And, you know, I mean, it's just a real challenge. And again, we've tried in the past not to confuse the cost of living raise with the salary adjustment, and again, I don't have any, I've either been self-employed or worked for the city of Lyle. You know, so I don't have any, I don't know who gives costs. I know government stuff. I don't know private sector. Well, when I was an employer, I didn't give a cost of living raise to people that work for me. So I guess I'm pretty sorry now to think about it, but anyway.
So that's
it
the
would
professional.
be a play on words. I mean, if you would come across and say, this is the 5% salary adjustment.
Okay, go for that then.
So that,
I
I
mean,
mean,
it comes out the same way, but what I'm getting at is that how are you gonna get a person to perform their best if they're gonna just get a straight clear across 5%? You know, it's no longer salary. It's not, well, the better I do, the more money I could get. I'm gonna get 5% no matter what I do.
Oh, I think unfortunately, I think a lot of the government sector, we're thrown in that a lot of times, because there's so many different ways to evaluate people, like in law enforcement, it's, you could just go very depth to
I think the first thing we need to do, and I know where you're coming from. Okay, first thing we need to do is just talk to legal. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, but from the governmental, I don't think we can actually provide additional for performance. Check with legal. I think there's something in there for us to be able to do that. So in the governmental, I don't think.
Well, you can't do that.
You can't do that. You can't. So let's check on that one. But I like what you're saying also in a sense of an adjustment based on,
Yes.
because we all know here that all of our departments are below, correct?
That's what this salary,
So-
and this was done, a professional company did it for the city of Pearson.
And if it's because they're below the
Yes.
national average or the average for the area, then let's put it across that way. This is gonna be a 5% increase to get us up to where we need to be.
To get us closer to where we need to be. It won't get us up to where we need to be for some
Get
employees.
closer to it,
Yeah.
where we need
So-
to be.
So let's go ahead and label it, just like Michael's saying, let's label it what
So
it is,
then-
we're trying to get it.
I'll play devil's advocate here, because we do have an employee or two that is at that rate. Basically just because of the tenure they've had with the city and the raise they got over the year. Do we tell that employee, sorry, you're at what the market average
No,
is?
No,
because-
based on what the mayor
No.
was saying, you can't do that.
No, because you also gotta take into consider the longevity of the employee too. There's two factors when they come into play with that.
That's another key,
So that
like
can't-
Medina County has longevity pay, or about some of the cities and counties have longevity pay, and we don't have that as well. You know, so
But
that's
some of
something.
them, the council has been doing over years. From what I remember, when I was a council member and reading up, remember when we did the last wage increase on there? That was some of the things that were
We took into
incorporated as part of,
consideration,
yeah,
yes.
that was taken into consideration, so that's always been done. So I think we're okay with that.
Oh, yeah, yeah, I
But
mean, I'm not.
let's
saying-
get a read from legal. I wanna say that, I don't think we can provide incentives, based on performance. I think we have to kind of come up with a rate based on the job.
Well, I
didn't
can,
realize that.
I can tell you that when we did it before, it was based on like a 3 to 5%, and some employees got 3.7, some got 3.2, some got 4.1. And I can tell you, I darn near paid out of my pocket the difference to avoid the problems and the animosity it caused over such
Some of
a-
that became, it was a personal thing.
But it will
It was
be,
a vendetta.
it always will be.
I know,
Yeah,
but some
but who's
people are-
making the decision?
That's the issue, and then why is it this, why is it that? I mean, it's just for such an insignificant amount of money.
The thing that we have, and I know now it's in the city administrator's position, but it is, it's that time of the year, we're getting close, it's time for performance evaluations. And that's the opportunity for us to give feedback to the employees. So that's separate, but that has no tie with the monetary portion that goes along with that. So, I know we've been here, it's already 9:21, I think we had very good discussions on some good areas. We know that there's some areas that need a lot more attention than other. I appreciate everybody's input, council, I appreciate the guidance and kind of the tough questions to ask. But I think, we're starting off in a good way for us to go ahead and get some of these things answered and figured out.
Mayor, if needed, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn. If needed.
Actually, I don't think we need a motion, it's a workshop,
So
right?
we just, yeah.
Yeah, I think we can.
I'll second that.
We'll take that. So let's go ahead and show us, that we're closed at 9:21. So appreciate it. Have a great evening and